Welcome to the Liverpool 12th Man Show. I am the Liverpool 12th Man. I appreciate all of you that are joining us today, whether you're a Red or whether you're a guest to the channel. Appreciate you. All the same, it's all about football on this channel, so I appreciate you guys joining in. We're joined by the Irishman today, too. How you doing, Irishman?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I was just over on Ant's Leicester fan channel, and he was having a good show there. So anybody that's come over and joined from there, or that heard about us from there, joins later on, or watches on replay even. Thanks for coming over because he did a good job. He did a great job promoting it up. So thanks for that, Ant. Yeah, he's already there. So cheers for that. I really appreciate it.
No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. You'll have to put his link in the chat too a little bit
Yeah.
later on once a lot more people join, and so that make sure that we can get him some return appreciation. So but yeah, definitely big up Ant. And big up to everyone that's joining us today. Like I said, big up Philip, big up Ant,
Yeah.
big up Bonkers,
Bunkers,
Total
Philip. Yeah.
Football, Kyle. Because I've seen Kyle before as well. Big up. Definitely big up to everyone that's joining us today. So we're gonna just we normally don't do these types of shows, in such of saying like, talking about transfers and the likes, but we do every once in a while, like hint at it here and there. So I figured we bring some transfer tea, as they call it, and also allow for, if you do want to call in, you can certainly call in. We'll have that portion of the show be a part of it as well. I'll put the link in the chat.
And not just Liverpool transfers. We're gonna probably any transfers anyone wants to talk
Yeah,
about going. Yeah, it's
yeah,
not so like
we can
it's
go
not
league
just
wide. We can
yeah
go league
just
wide.
but just real stuff. Yeah, we're not going to get into fake nonsense rumors. So yeah, so yeah, let's just talk about yeah. If anyone wants to talk about someone just joining two other clubs, then if it's an interesting transfer, want to talk about it. Why not? Because there's a bit of a gap now between the Euros. There's not much happening. So, and there has been
Yes,
some deals. Some people have been, some clubs have been busy. Things have been happening.
yeah, yeah. There has been some news, some chatter out there. Um, there is some football today. I mean, it's later on in the evening for
Oh,
you guys
sorry.
over
Yes.
there.
Sorry. Yes.
Uh,
Yes. I keep forgetting about the Copa. Yeah. Sorry. Other
yeah,
than
yeah. Well, I
Copa.
would like to forget about the Copa right at this very moment because my U.S. men's national team lost last night to Panama, 2-1. And it was a pretty contemptuous game, to say the least. It was pretty ugly the way that it went. There were some harsh fouls. Um, Panama was playing like you would have thought that Simeone was their coach because they were doing some real dark arts. There was 2 red cards, um, plenty of
Good luck game.
yellows. Oh, it was a very it had me yelling at the television screen. How about that? It had me yelling at the screen, yelling at that kind
Yeah.
of thing. Yeah, that's always a fun place to be. But
Um. What did you ask me to do? I picked up my phone for a reason. What did you ask me to do?
oh
Oh
my
yeah, put Ant's link. I'll put Ant's link.
yeah,
Sorry. Yeah.
Ants link on
Ant's link.
yeah, put
Yeah.
Ants link. Yep.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, we were talking about that. Yeah, Panama. They were talking about last night.
Polish.
He was okay. Panama here. Look, I mean, I don't know, but surely that's a bit of a shock. Two
Yeah.
one. Like you're saying,
Oh
it sounds
yeah,
like it's a
huge
bit of a
shock.
bloodbath.
It
But who are
wasn't.
the
It wasn't.
Reds
It wasn't.
for?
It wasn't a huge shock. It was a shock. I would say
But
it's not a huge shock because Panama plays that way. Panama plays
just
very
quickly,
rough and
when you
dirty.
when you say there were two red cards, like were they both for Panama players?
No, well, the first one was for a player that you would not have expected to gotten a red card. It was for Timothy Weah. So and I am
Oh,
going to bring
okay.
up the
So
Polish parallel, by the way, but in a second. But yeah, it
that
was
is
it
it is a
was.
hell of a nickname. It is a hell of a
No,
nickname, Ant.
that's why I want to bring it
It
up.
is
It's
a
a
hell of
hell
a
of a
nickname.
nickname to say the least. Um, But yeah, it was Timothy Weah was it was early too. It was like first it was like 10 20 minutes of the first half. Um, it wasn't even on like a it wasn't on a tackle or anything. I guess I guess the guy kept pushing him in the back, kept like trying to like push him in the back, and he wasn't getting calls against it. And he was pushing him in the back, and he was talking trash to him too. He was saying some like really nasty things to him. And then Weah kind of turned and pushed him back, but one of his hands kind of hit his head on the push, and they went to VAR and they gave him a red card for for push. And I mean, like it's understandable. You can't do that. You just can't
Can't
do
raise
that.
your hands. Yeah, you can't raise your hands to the face. You're off straight away.
No,
Normally, unfortunately. I mean, even
no,
if it is like you say, it kind of your hand kind of goes the wrong direction or whatever, and you make an accidental contact. But as soon as you put your hands up and in someone's face, they just see that and say, "Yep, off you go."
yeah, and that's
And that is real unfortunate. What you say, like 8, 10 minutes into a game or something like that, that just kind of
it.
really,
You go down to 10 men, and now and then you know what's crazy about 10? We went down to 10 men, and then we scored an absolute cracker of a goal. I mean, it was a great shot by the guy who I've been saying. I put Balogun as one of the breakout players for this
did
tournament.
he
He
did he
scored.
start him or did he have to bring him on to replace Weah or like what did he do when
No,
Weah got
no,
sent off?
Balogun started. Balogun started. We once he got taken off, we had 10 men. And we were going to make the change up, but we continued on while the sub got because I mean it's so early. You're probably not really even warmed up and ready to
Well, when
go.
you look at it, if when you look at it, right, if you're playing with two guys up top
Yeah.
and you're going to get a man sent off,
Oh well, we played three. We played three
well,
players
you
up.
just well, yeah, if you have a couple of strikers up top
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to get a man sent off, the one player that you can afford to get sent off, that doesn't mean you have to rip up like if you get a centre half sent off or you get a centre midfielder sent off, you almost certainly have to kind of make an immediate sub and change things
Mm-hmm.
up, especially if it's a defender. But if it's a
Mm-hmm.
striker that gets sent off, you can kind of just go, well, okay, we'll just go with one. Like, let's just say you're playing 4-4-2. You can just go, okay, well, let's just go with one up top, play 4-4-1, and
Yeah.
we'll move it around. So it's kind of, I mean, I'm trying to find clutch of straws here, but like, yeah, like if you get a centre half sent off, you have to make a change. Whereas if you get a striker, you can go, okay, right, look, you just drop in there, and we'll go with one up front instead of him, and maybe do that. But again, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's probably yeah, it really kind of bursts your balloon when you're or pops
It
the balloon when
does.
you're 10
Yeah.
minutes in, and is it a straight red because he's going to miss a load more? He's going to be out of the
He's gonna
like it's
miss.
a,
He's gonna miss probably
yeah,
the like he's gonna at least miss the next game, if not the game after. It could be more than one game. It depends on how commable
yeah,
deems it to be.
whether it's
Um,
violent or
it
or
really
how
wasn't. It
yeah.
really was.
Yeah.
It was.
But that's how they look. Was it like is it a punch in the face? Is it
It's
a
not a punch.
tap?
It wasn't a punch.
But
He
yeah, so
attacked.
they'll downgrade
He
it.
was
So if
trying
it's
to.
a
It's
tap,
yeah.
yeah,
It's
if
like
it's
a
only tight
reaction thing.
contact,
It's
so it
like
might be only one game. But if he turns
yeah,
around and lamps him, it's a three game. But if it's
yeah.
only like you were saying, he turns around and puts his arms up and accidentally kind of makes contact, maybe they'll just go, okay, look, just a one game. But yeah, like if he
Yeah.
turned around and just goes, right, I'm knocking you out, man, and lamps him, yeah, obviously you're getting
No, it
three.
wasn't like that. It
So
wasn't like that. It wasn't like
yeah,
he,
so if it's
like
yeah,
like yeah, cock the
so no,
fist
no,
or
I
something.
hear you, yeah, I
Yeah.
hear. So definitely, he
No,
has a
that's a different
chance
story.
of
Yeah.
not getting a three uh, and being back because he's, I'd imagine, kind of important
Oh,
for
he's
you.
very important to our team. He's a good player. He's playing well right now, or was playing well for his club team. He's playing well for us too. But I mean, yeah,
Who's he
he
play
got
for?
the red card on the 18th minute. The 18th minute.
Who who's he playing his club football for?
I I think it's AC Milan because that's who.
His dad was there.
Oh
He's got
yeah.
a hell of a legacy to live up to,
Oh, absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
like you're not going
Um,
to, so it's kind of
he plays for Juventus right now, actually, and he actually
oh, he's
plays
at
for.
Juve. Is he?
Yeah,
He gets games. Yeah,
yeah, and he actually gets games. Like he actually plays.
well,
We
that's a
have
player
like
we might be
it's
talking about
weird. We have
later on.
two players like Weah's playing in for Juventus, and and also Christian is Pulisic is playing for AC Milan. So like, and they've
Yeah,
actually been playing very well for them. Obviously, McKennie does technically play for Juventus, but he might be on the move. Um, but yeah, he's an actual like contributing player for them. And our front line is normally Pulisic, Pulisic on the left, Weah on the right, and we have Balogun in the middle. And once Weah went down, we were like, oh crap, like that sucks. But 4 minutes later, after we got the red card, we scored the goal. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then our coach made the subs. He brought in like basically went to like a defensive structure in the sense, he had like five guys in the midfield or something like that. It was something ridiculous. And what was really, really telling is that we couldn't hold on to that lead. We ended up like we scored 4 minutes later, and then I think they scored like I want to say like when they scored. They scored 10 minutes later after we scored. Not even. They scored like 6 minutes, 4 minutes later actually. So we scored 4 minutes after we got the red card. They scored 4 minutes after we got a goal, and that was 1-1. And it wasn't a goal that we should have conceded. And then the second goal was even worse later on during the game. We'd like 83rd minute, they finally score on us, and we had been digging in, trying to do defensive measures and the whole nine. And then after they scored that 2-1 goal, that's when Panama was like, okay, it's open season. The foul that Carrascalia, I think that's how you say it, Carrasca, whatever. He's a jerk. I'll say that openly on this channel because he is. He's a POS. This guy literally just came and just. It wasn't even like he didn't even go for the ball. He just literally looked like he was trying to hurt Pulisic, and just it was so bad that Pulisic got up and like threw a shoulder into the guy on some like he got up angry, like what the. It was ugly. It was ugly, but we lost. Now we got to beat Uruguay, or at least get a result in Uruguay, and it's terrible. Or we get knocked out of this tournament. It's kind of crappy. So, but today there
well,
are
that's
other games. There are other
that
games.
is a bit. That is
Hmm?
a bit. What you go up against, like you got to beat them you got to beat Uruguay to stay in it.
Well, it would help if we beat Uruguay. If Bolivia beats Panama,
I'm sure it would. Yeah.
then we still have a chance of going forward, going on, even if we lost. But if
And
we
who's better?
draw
Who's
with
better?
Uruguay, then the
But who?
chance, then Bolivia, basically Panama's got to lose against Bolivia, but
But
Bolivia
so
isn't a great team.
who's better? Like who's the better team between Bolivia and Panama? Like, say if they're in a league, like who would be the better team?
Panama,
Oh, okay, right. So yeah, it's not looking great,
Panama,
is
I
it? So
think it's ranked. I think Panama's ranked higher, but Bolivia is probably the worst team in our group. But they're going to have to go against a Panama team who that guy that ended up, I said, got the red card for Panama. He is their best player.
not
So,
anymore.
not anymore. Exactly. I hope that guy doesn't play another game in this. Even if they go on, he shouldn't play another game in this tournament. It was. If you saw the foul, I wish I could show it. Man, you probably would get mad. You're not even an American fan. You probably like, what the. Like it
Yeah, and
was
I'm
just
not even.
dirty.
I'm an Inter fan.
It was
I'm an Inter.
dirty.
Yeah. I like the way he's come back. You know, incredible fee for a player that everybody in world football was being linked with. We were being linked with fairly
Pulisic?
heavily for obvious
Yeah.
reasons. Jurgen Klopp, Dortmund, Liverpool, yeah, it was a real, and he was leaving. It was obvious he was leaving Dortmund. So
Hmm.
it was, it was very kind of, I'm sure maybe someone we were interested in, but as soon as Chelsea go and put, oh, what was like 57 million, I think they put 50, basically 57 million, I think.
Yeah, yeah,
That was never going, we were never going to do that. And it didn't work. A lot of injuries at Chelsea. Really, really bad luck with injuries.
yeah. Just bad. I
Uh,
mean, injuries are just bad luck. I mean, like, there's no guarantee that you get those injuries if you're on another team or in another setting. You know,
and in
like,
an unstable team as well, like Chelsea, where you can
yeah.
get an injury, like basically you can get an injury, and normally I would say I'm exaggerating for effect here, but I'm not. At a club like Chelsea, you can get an injury and be out for say 3.5 to 4 months,
Hmm.
and you come back, and there's a new manager. Like it, that's you can be a manager saying to you, look, don't worry, I brought you in. We're going to get you the best rehab. You're going to come back cool. I'm not going to be signing players to replace you. You're still my guy. Yeah, all that stuff. You come back after your rehab. Maybe it takes a little bit longer. It's 6 months later, and Graham Potter is gone, and Antonio Conte is in. It's like, okay, so this guy doesn't have the same opinion about you. So it's not a great club to have issues that require long-term buy-in from those people above you, if that makes sense,
Hmm. Hmm.
because those
Hmm.
people change so rapidly. So it's just, I think the best thing for him was to go to a club like AC Milan and
Hmm.
get his fitness back together, and then play in definitely a less demanding league where he can play more. He will get the chance to play more, and just week in. There's nothing better than just week in, week in, week out, playing, playing, playing,
Yeah.
and then forget then all that fitness stuff because for him it was just so long like get him fit, get him fit, get him fit. So no, get him playing, get him playing. Take the focus off getting fit, because that tells you there's something wrong with you. Just go and play.
Hmm.
Just go and play, son. Go and play. Go and play. Score goals, make assists, have fun, play
Hmm.
football. Next thing
Hmm.
you know, you're off. You're at a club like Real Madrid, because guess what? Just go and do that stuff, And I'm really it is good because he was and is a really, really good player. So is
He
Sancho. All
is.
these boys that were doing it at Dortmund, the Sanchos and these kind of guys, it just takes the wrong move and a wrong bit of time, and then you go to a club where you can reignite your spark. And I'm glad they sold him as well and didn't just put him out, because you know what would happen is if they loaned him to AC, like he'd look good again for 5 minutes, and then they'd recall him and not
Hmm.
play him, and he
And
just
then not
needed that.
playing. Right.
He
Right.
needed that clean break. I think.
Yeah.
I think he did. He needed that clean break to just
Yeah.
go there
He
and
did totally.
yeah, not to have
He
that.
did.
Oh, would he be going back to Chelsea question every second interview? No, I'm an AC player now. They bought me. They own me. I play for them. I do what I do for them, and you'll see the best of him. Hopefully, I love him as if he's gone. I loved watching him at Dortmund. An old school dribbler with power and pace. Love getting it wide.
Yeah.
Kind of player you like watching. Just the kind of
Yeah.
player that you like watching.
Yeah. I thought I look, he was the youngest player to go over. He was the youngest player to be brought over to Europe as an American. He was 17 when he went to Dortmund. He's like
He's the
it's
Freddie
kind of
Adu that
crazy.
made it.
Yeah.
He's,
It's wild because like he's
you
always
know,
had he's always had a lot of oh, big up Norm. He's always had some type of pressure on his back, being the American in Europe and especially in a top five league in the world too as well in Germany, being at one of the bigger name clubs as well in Germany. I mean, it's not like he was in some like
yeah,
I got to look it up style club,
yeah.
um, and yeah, I thought that I would have liked to. I'll be honest with you. I would have liked to have seen him play for Liverpool, but like,
Oh, I would have been very happy, very happy.
yeah. I mean, I think that people connect the injuries that he got as being like, oh well, they're just a guarantee. No, there's no guarantee that he would have gotten those injuries at Liverpool, you know. But if he were to be able to stay
Of course,
healthy,
No, no, they're all.
I mean, like you have a healthy Pulisic, you have a very, very, a very, very talented player, and someone that I think is like, overlooked. But hey, it's cool. It's cool. He's now in Italy. He's got a fresh start. He's learning Italian right now. He speaks German, speaks English, but he's now learning to speak Italian. Good for him.
He's
Enjoy the good
is
food
he
and everything.
New York? Is he from New York?
Yeah, he's from Pennsylvania.
Is he from Philly?
No, but he's from like he's from like northern Pennsylvania or something like that. He's like from
Okay.
I think it's like close to like Erie, I think, or something like that. I'd have to double check, but I'm pretty sure it's like, yeah.
But he can speak Italian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he can speak. He's
with his hands.
Italian.
With his hands. Yeah, but he's an American. He can probably get by with his hands. Yeah, he's probably learned enough that way. Yeah, he's been to enough pizza places to. He's probably got a good start. He's got a good head start, I reckon. Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, that's
Yeah, we got some new people.
Mm-hmm.
More people.
Deal with that too. Yeah,
Taylor is in.
Okay.
Bernie, I don't know if I said hello to Bernie.
Absolutely.
And obviously Greg, who I was warned not to invite on the channel, so we should probably open up the phone in and get Greg on.
Because yeah.
Ant is Corsican. Kyle, the link is going to be open for everyone. It's a call in. And,
the link will be. I'll be putting the link in. I was just letting people kind of like get seated and settled.
Ant is terrified at the thought of Greg joining. So I say bring it on. Because he knows he's to blame. Ant, as I said, he's a mod on Ant's channel. So it's the YouTube equivalent of vouching for somebody. So
okay.
That's there we go. But yeah, let's Kyle, if you want to call in, we're happy.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
put the link in the chat.
StreamYard and all that. I'm sure you're ready. You all know that.
Yes.
Cedric, I didn't say hello to Cedric. Say hello to Daz. But yeah, I'm sure you all know StreamYard and all the usual. You don't have to go on camera. Obviously, anyone wants to call in, not a requirement, clearly. And but keep it. Well, I don't know, keep it PG. I don't know.
Yeah, just keep it. Hey, it's all about we're just gonna be sipping on some tea. Talking transfers, talking whatever you want. Actually, I mean, it's not. You don't have to just particularly talk about transfers. Talk about different things. But like I said, try to keep it as civil as possible. Little banter here and there is not bad, but like you got to, if you're going to give, you got to be willing to take. So that kind of deal. So it's good. But yes, I did put the link in the chat. It looks like we have our first participant. Let me get set up.
That's quick. That was very quick. That's good to see, actually. That's good. Honestly, hello. Bernie. Bernie,
just give me a thumbs up when you're ready to go. Also, Bernie, if you're a friend or friend of the channel, you don't have to put your camera on. But if you're new, just so we know, it's all good.
Bit of verification.
Just start with your camera.
Only
then you can go off when we go live. We'll go off.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring Ant in as well right here.
I just want to know what Bernie is cooking. That's all I want.
How are you doing, mate?
Bernie is cooking.
Good. Good to see you. Good to have you on the show.
Cheers for having me. It's funny because I watch you guys quite a lot, even when I'm not commenting. So it's nice to actually finally come on and actually chat instead of always just in the comments.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. This is like only like the second or third time that we've done an actual call in, but it's cool that you're like one of the you're one of the first to be able to be on the call in. So it's cool like that. Especially you support the show, and I appreciate that immensely. So No
worries. Now, as I said it on my own show because I've known Brian online for absolutely years, and I've always said people who've sort of helped me over the years, I will always try and return the favor.
Definitely. What is this news about the Polish Pirlo? What is this?
Who came up with that nickname? Because it was either Total or Kyle.
It's as bad as, hey, we had the Polish Messi. We had the Polish Messi for our club, so.
Who was it? Because whoever came up with that deserves like a timeout at least. But
a 2-season ban from I was going to say Filbert Street for a second. Shows you what's going on in my mind. From the Foxes Power Stadium. I'm sorry, dude. I've literally just genuinely forgotten what it's called. The King Power. Yeah. 2-season ban from the King Power for that. Yeah.
But we've been linked to Jacob Modder of Brighton, and you know when you're linked to a player and you think even like if he comes to Leicester, I'll get behind him. I'll give him a chance. But it feels like one of those that's going to be dead wood almost before he started. It's like
what were they? They were saying like this guy and 25, something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I saw. Romano was saying was like it was going to be Motor, and he said compensation of like 25. I was like, okay, yeah, I know, Lee. Sorry, I just had a moment, that didn't sound like the worst deal in the world.
I disagree.
Motor, no, I just mean if Motor went and kind of was a good player, but okay, right, fine, but yeah, I don't know. Like, what does Dewsbury Hall have left on his contract? Like, what would if there was no nonsense left, what would you be selling him? Is he a £50 million player? Is he a £40 million player?
Apparently, it's a £25 million player, right?
Plus a whatever they value Motor
right now.
But whatever they're valuing Motor at, it was 25 plus Motor. So if they're valuing Motor at say,
I got
15.
Yeah. The thing is, apparently they're valuing Motor at 10, but he's got 1 year left on his contract, whereas Dewsbury Hall's got 3 years left on his contract. But apparently that one's dead in the water now. That Dewsbury Hall basically doesn't want to move to Brighton.
Do you think Chelsea go in for him if Maresca is? I know this sounds like a trap question, but do you think Chelsea go in for him if Maresca isn't there?
No, I've said 1,000,001 times over the last couple of weeks. So this is like because the links were there a couple of weeks ago, but it's really sort of strengthened in the last couple of days. Enzo Maresca is the only reason that Chelsea are seriously going in for Dewsbury Hall.
He did okay against us, 12th man. You'll remember he scored against us, didn't he? I liked him as a player. He looked, but it was hard to tell because he a good player in an overperformed player in an underperforming Leicester side, standing out. What was he? How good was he? It was hard to know.
I don't think the thing is, I think there's a lot of revisionism about how good Dewsbury Hall was on the season we got relegated. Harvey Barnes, James Maddison were by far our best players for that
Barnes
year.
Is excellent. Barnes is excellent player,
yeah. Dewsbury Hall was one that was in and out of the side, and like as much as he always wore his heart on his sleeves, and he's a Leicester fan, like the club means everything to him. When a player just speaks and you can hear it, like in the way that they're talking. Like he clearly cared, but he wasn't like some established first team player. He was still sort of a fringe player. But having said that, I think the season in the Championship, where he has been the main man, has been the talisman, will have done him a world of good, and I think he will have improved as a player since then. But there's improving as a player and then being a top 6 quality level player, which is I'm not convinced he is.
Yeah, I didn't get the Chelsea link. I honestly, dude, I was like, no offense to the guy, no offense to you, no offense to any. I was just like, there's no way Chelsea are already after buying about 3 people. It's like, why the hell do they need to get involved in this total non-deal? Like, why? They don't need a Dewsbury Hall. That's what they don't need. And now they're trying to create. I don't get it at all.
Yeah, I don't get it, but it's one of those. But like, it could well save us from a points deduction. So it's like, you know what? As much as you don't want to see your better players go, it's like because of how broken. Yeah,
is it because of PSR?
Because of how broken the rules are, it's sort of it it means that a player who doesn't want to go, a player who's a fan of a club, is now being forced out, and it's like this is where I don't think PSR, and I knew this like at some point this would come up because this seems to be all I debate with you guys, but this is where I just don't think it sits right. That a player like that's being forced out when, like, if we were to sell Wout Faes for the same value, it's not the same value, if that makes sense, because Wout Faes we've brought for a transfer fee and it's not pure profit. Whereas if we sell Dewsbury Hall for 30 million, it's still worth like more than if we were to sell Wout Faes for 60 million, just as an example.
Can I quickly really make one important point before we move on? I'll just make it quickly. It's the 28th of June. Any deal that gets done before the 1st of July, that money goes on last year's books.
That's why it's picked up speed, isn't it?
This is why Chelsea are trying to get deals done now, because their accounts, your 3-year accounts, end at the end of June. So so what you were talking about, Ante, is right. Like the money that goes on your books for this deal will go on the last 3 years. So if you were to sell this guy on the 1st of July, it's on next year's accounts. So that is one thing to bear in mind. Why a lot of clubs might be doing things now is because if any deal that you do now goes into the previous 3 years accounting, which it's a 3-year cycle for the thing. So that is a big deal for Chelsea. It is. Chelsea are under huge pressure to do deals before the 1st of July, just as much as ER maybe.
Yeah, I think ours is sort of different kind of pressure. I think Chelsea are fine now, but I do think if we were looking at selling Dewsbury Hall after the start of the new deadline of a new cycle, we can hold out for more money and we're in less of a hurry to get it done. But I think it's because the situation we're in, we're not in a position of power. It's like, I feel like we probably could hold out for 45, 50 million, if not. And he's probably not worth that fee, but that's sort of the value he has to Leicester.
Yeah, you mentioned Chelsea as well. What they're doing, I know that the contract thing that they did with the 7, 8, 9-year contracts that they're signing these players to as well. That's going to be eventually phased out as well. But as of right now,
this year. That's this year. Yeah, that's done now. 6 is the max. 6 is now the max. I think that guy they just signed the other day. They just signed some guy defender, and they put him on a 6-year deal because that's the max now.
Yeah.
Thanks to them, basically.
Yeah. We actually, we do have a question for our caller. Actually, let me bring this question up too. It says, question for the caller: for being in the championship this year, what's your opinion on Archie Gray, and what other championship players stood out to you?
So I think Archie Gray is one of those that he's such a young player, but he played beyond sort of what you think his age is, like proper talent. There's a fair few championship players that stood out for me. Jaden Philogene, who looks like he could be going to Everton's, one that I really like the look of.
He's too good for them. I want him at Liverpool. I want Philogene at Liverpool, but Villa have a buyback on him.
Thing is, I don't think he's Liverpool level yet, if I'm honest, mate.
I know,
I think
but
he's one that if you were to buy him now, I think he is a good player. He's one that I think if you were to buy him now, you would need to loan him out for a season for sort of
maybe
kind of ground.
But when you see a player and just go, I want that guy. He's that guy that sticks out to me in the championship is him.
Somerville was brilliant whilst we're looking at Leeds. Amari Hutchinson, Jacob Greaves, brilliant young centre back. I'm hoping Leicester sign him. We've been linked to him. Abdul Fatawu, Leicester's winger. I think he's one that really to keep an eye on because everyone's talked about Dewsbury Hall this season. I think Abdul Fatawu last year was our most talented player, by some distance.
What's he play? Left wing, right wing?
Right wing. But
left footer, typical wing, left footer,
left
old
foot,
school.
but he's one of those absolute electric pace, can beat a man. Like, you know, when Sadio Mane first signed for Southampton, that sort of just raw, electric, sort of exciting winger that's going to get you off your seat.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He really reminds me of that, and he's only 19. It's like proper talent. Callum O'Hare as well. I hate to say it, the lad from Cov looks like he could be joining Leicester on a free as well. And I'm not just saying that because he's linked to Leicester, but he's one of those that's like, but he's a top championship players. Can he then make that step to the Premier League?
Mm-hmm.
So he's
That's
one
the
I'm
thing.
keeping up.
No, I'm glad you brought up.
I do have a player. There is a player that you guys are. There is a player you guys are linked to that is very interesting. He's a Liverpool player currently. Well, technically, he's a Liverpool player. He's now returned off a loan, so yes, he is a Liverpool player. But I have heard that your club is linked to trying to pursue Fabio Carvalho.
Yeah, he's one of those. He was a
you-
level above the Championship. He was similar to what Harry Winks was.
Oh, so you don't rate him? You don't rate him?
No, I
You
really
don't rate
rate
him?
him. It's like he shouldn't have been in the Championship again. You know, when you look at a player
okay.
and it's like you're
Mhm.
above this level, like you really are. And it's like
Yeah.
it's what I thought when Ricardo Pereira and Harry Winks were playing in the Championship. It's like, what are you doing here? Like, you could be playing at such a higher level. So I really like Fabio Carvalho. I do think that like he lacks certain elements of his game, but I challenge you now to find a 21-year-old who doesn't.
Right. That's a good point. That's a very good point. Yeah. I think unfortunately though, with a lot of fans out there, there's not much leeway that they give the players to have any type of room to develop. They just expect you to be at times they expect you to be that level or exceptional level automatically. And especially if you have any, fanfare behind you, it tends to be one of those cases where you're not going to get any type of breathing room to kind of like grow into being a great player or grow into being a player that, can really contribute to the team.
Yeah, I think this is why, like, as well, and I think you probably see it at a much higher level than I do at Leicester because you're obviously competing with Man City and the likes of that, where the bar is so high and any mistake feels like it's like, when you were in your title run-ins, like one mistake and one loss felt like it was all over straight away because Man City were relentless.
On that. Yeah.
Like, so it makes it so much harder to blood in young talent because,
right.
like, as much as sort of a financial side of it is, young talent will come in and do well for you, and like will develop, improve, and business-wise, it's a brilliant way to go. Ultimately, like they will make mistakes because they are learning, they are developing. And it's like anyone who's done any job to any level will tell you that to improve and to get better, you need to make mistakes in the process of doing that.
Right. Exactly. And that's the thing about it. That's the thing about with a lot of the development that you see is that if you're not going to allow for a player to, you don't have a lot of our fans don't want to allow for these players to develop, like as in they want, like for instance, like a Ben Doak. Ben Doak was going to have always going to have a hard route to pleasing players or pleasing our fan base. Very similar to maybe even a Harvey Elliott. As in it's difficult because you don't want to we're competing at a level where we're competing as world-class talent all the time. We're trying to compete, trying to win silverware and the likes, but it doesn't provide you the environment to have young players and have them learn somewhat on the job, I guess, and develop and advance their their talents on the pitch, because you want players that already are at that level. And it's a I don't know. I thought last year we ended up getting a lot of those cases pressed upon us from injuries, but we were fortunate that a lot of those youth players that we did bring in were really ready for the challenge. I think. I mean, there's a lot of players that, unless you're watching, the youth academy play, you probably didn't really have any clue as to what their levels were at, and a lot of them seamlessly just got right into the team and really contributed. And it was really good to see.
This another thing with the young talent as well, though, is clubs are so quick to sort of move these players on now because everyone has to fit within these PSR thresholds, and it's like Man City are brilliant at it, and I don't think that for them it works quite well. But you look at the amount of players that they move on before they even get a kick in the first team, and it's like, but clubs up and down the league are doing that because it balances books rather than develops players. So it's like,
you have the you also have the you've got people that'll tell you, because to me that's really not that's just kind of what people are into. It's not a win, lose, or draw a fight kind of thing. It's just what some people are into. How to phrase this correctly? Like, I love young players. It's great to bring in the kids, and we all love seeing that, but that doesn't really win you stuff. So a lot of people will say, I don't want to see us developing players. I want to see us with the finished article in the first 11, winning leagues, winning titles, and the odd time a kid comes through. It's like it's great for other clubs like Brighton to have young kids, and they're like, but I'm not the kind of I don't think Liverpool is this club that should be building up 3 young kids. Just like, it's great to have them around, but it's like, no, look, Real Madrid don't have young talent. Someone say, oh, Barcelona do. Well, they're a different story. So it's probably about what you're into. Liverpool for me is always one of those clubs that we've never really been a kind of a young talent club. We've always been kind of solid, kind of more of a local talent club. It didn't always have to be young players. It was more about kind of a local thing. But yeah, there's nothing, I've always said it, like, no 100 million pound or 150 million pound signing will ever give you the same feeling as some 18 or 19-year-old kid coming through the youth academy and being an Mbappe or an Owen or a Ronaldo, the original one, or whatever. It always feels 1,000 times better if it's some kid that you didn't have to spend a penny on. He came up through the ranks. Everyone loves that. I think like that always feels better than, yeah, but you bought him for 200 million quid. He's great and all that, nice one, but you kind of like the next Michael Owen or the next whatever emerges from your academy. It always feels better for fans anyway.
Yeah,
it feels better. It always definitely feels better.
I feel like that's as well why, and I don't know what it's like at Liverpool, but when Harvey Barnes went through a really rough period, I feel like he got given a lot more sort of grace than a player.
Oh, you do, yeah, 100%, yeah.
So yeah, but it's one of those. I think it's a balancing act, isn't it? And it's different sort of clubs, sort of horses for courses. So different clubs will have different sort of ambitions. So for you guys, as I say, you're probably not going to be developing, getting a huge amount of your academy lads into the first team, but you've always been a club, like, I think, that hasn't spent huge money, but you've spent sort of wisely, and you've spent well on players, and what you've brought in have always been decent players, but have quite often then kicked on to be from decent players to then world-class players, and have improved at Liverpool, particularly when you're at your best. Maybe not during the Hodgson days and sort of those kind of days. But
definitely no, of course, no.
But when Roy was a topic of subject yesterday, so we don't have to bring Roy back.
Right. But when you've been at your best, and when sort of like you think of classic Liverpool, well, for me at least, I think of a club that sort of, but yes, does spend money, and I don't think like obviously you don't spend the same as Man City and that.
We're not. But no, we're not pleading poverty over here. We do spend, of course. Yeah, we ain't pleading poverty over here. Yeah, we ain't poor. No one. Yeah, hands up. We do spend 100%.
Yeah, of course you do. But like any club that's going to compete in the way that you do needs to. But then you spend wisely and you invest, and then like I'd say probably 80% of the players that you do sign, you then come in and improve them. It's like a lot of the time I've struggled to think of when you've signed a player that's sort of a ready-made complete article and finished article.
That's you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. There's very few players
VVD
that
will
were.
come close to that. VVD will come close to that, but he'd only done it at Southampton. But it was kind of, other than where he had played his football.
Right. I think that's
everyone.
the biggest caveat you have to put to it. Is that
But
where's this player coming from, and like what level is he playing at, and where is he at in
kind
his
of
development?
out and out fit. Oh, maybe Torres. I'd have to, like, the last time, like, we went toe to toe with the big guns in Europe, that everybody, like, Torres is kind of like the original Aguero.
The closest thing to that would have been Thiago. Thiago's the closest. Thiago Alcantara was an accomplished world-class player. Obviously everyone associates the injuries, and then thus they take away from his value. But
he would be.
Thiago's the only player I think that we've really been. Well, he's world-class, and we're bringing in a world-class player that just came from a world-class team as well. On that level.
Thing is, you said about Van Dijk, I feel like it's almost because of how good he's been. It seemed that, there wasn't he was already that at Southampton. You talk to a lot of Southampton fans, say you could see the potential there, and he was very good there. But since he's gone to Liverpool, he's improved massively. And I almost think he's like what Maguire was at Leicester, where I think if Maguire had gone to Man City, I think he would be looked at in a very different light now. But because Van Dijk sort of continued his trajectory up and continued improving, it looks like that. With Maguire, I'd say Maguire was as good for us as Van Dijk was for Southampton, which is why we got the 80 million. But I don't think that going to United under Solskjaer, he ever sort of kicked on in the way that a lot of people sort of hoped and expected he would. And I do think there's an element of that, of if he had gone to Man City and we hadn't put the 80 million, we put the 60 million price tag, which is as far as Man City were to go on him, would that be then a different conversation?
Well, they could have. They did the same with us. With Van Dijk, they walked away from Van Dijk as soon as they heard that we had put down 75.
Yeah,
they did the same thing. I think Maguire. I think anybody that went to, in that period that he went there, anybody that went to Man United that went to City instead, you have to reckon they're probably looking a lot better than they do right now. Like, Maguire has qualities and he has deficiencies.
Yeah.
And when he went to United, I think he was in the middle of it. Like, we didn't. No one said, "Oh, that Man United defense is terrible." It's like that Man United, that whole team, that whole club. And he looked pretty terrible in a lot of games. But if he'd gone to another more stable, solid club, he probably would have been really solid. Would he still be there now? Probably not. For City, they probably would have signed him for 2 years and gotten rid of him. I don't know, maybe. But he can play in the system that suits him. It's probably why he performs a lot. Sorry, that's why before England fans always would, like the people that watch England games would always say, "Oh, Harry Maguire plays really well for England," because he plays in the system that suits him, and they're getting ripped apart every week.
Right,
like Man United are getting ripped apart every week by teams like fucking Steaua Bucharest and Brighton and things like that. It wasn't a good time, an easy time to be a Man United central defender.
No, Maguire. Maguire definitely has what happens to a lot of players, which is the price tag that is associated with you coming in on that transfer puts you at a certain level that you never even asked to be at. Like, as in, no player says, "Oh, this is the price that I want to get transferred for," and whenever you hear fans regard players, they always, we're gonna bring up Nunez in a little bit, but like, it's the same things with players like Nunez or players like or even with Dominic Szoboszlai right now. Like, as in, the price tag that they get brought in on, is going to be the anchor that holds them down, and holds them at a certain level. And then, like, as in, the price tag that they get brought in on is going to be the anchor that holds them down, and holds them at a certain level. And then, like, as in, the price tag that they get brought in on is going to be the anchor that holds them down, and holds them at a certain level. And then, like, as in, the price tag that they get brought in on is going to be the anchor that holds them down, and holds them at a certain level. And then, like, as in, the price tag that they get brought in on is going to be the anchor that holds them down, and holds them at a certain level. And then, like, as in, the price tag that they get brought in on is going to be the anchor that holds them down, and holds them at a certain level. And then, like, as in, the price tag that they get brought in on is going to be the anchor that holds them down, and holds them at a certain level. And then, like, as in, the price tag that they get brought in on is going to be the anchor that holds them down, and holds them at a certain level. And then, like, as in, the price tag that they get brought in on is going to be the an when it comes to their evaluation. And they've been playing well for your team. It's just, are they at the level of what you spent for them? Especially when your team doesn't spend that kind of money, you know.
I think also when you're on the spotlight at Man United as well, I think in a club like that where and Liverpool's probably the same, the pressure is so high to do well straight away. But something interesting about Maguire's price tag is he signed a deal 3 months before he left Leicester, knowing that it would make it harder for United to sign him as a thank you to Leicester for signing him from Hull when they got relegated. Because he basically said that it saved his career and got him in the England squad. So,
wow. Yeah,
that's not public. That's very few people know that outside the Leicester fan base. But he signed that as a thank you for Leicester, which is they say there's not loyalty in football. And I know he didn't stay, but I think that in a sense is sort of maybe not loyalty, but I think that shows a little bit sort of.
Yeah, no, it's similar to
appreciation.
McAllister did something very similar with Brighton as well. I mean, McAllister didn't have to re-sign the deal. Yeah. He didn't have to re-sign the deal, but he did. But I mean, by doing so, he helped out Brighton immensely, despite the fact that it wasn't, you know, the big signing, or he would have cost us more. I get it, but he at least brought them something. That's my point.
It's one of those. I think, in fact, you'll struggle to find many Leicester fans who have much bad to say about Maguire, and I think that's because
I saw that. Yeah, there's a couple people in the chat.
Our Hull fans. Hull fans are like, he's really good. Like, most Hull fans are like, you play him in the right system, he's a quality defender.
But
right. Yeah.
I always think as well, like, and you've had players that have left the club respectfully, disrespectfully as well, just like we have. It's like I think that's always how you remember a player, is how they leave the club as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. You know, if you
I just think of Coutinho. That's why I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. For a lot of fans, it'll always be. It's sort of. I suppose it's kind of like how much it. Yeah, I would agree with you. It depends how they leave, but it's kind of like a ratio. It's like how badly did they leave versus how much did they do when they were here. So if they did like a shitload when they were there, you're kind of prepared to accept a bit more on the way out. Like, you know, whereas like, if it's some guy that never played, never did anything, and he even dares like besmirch the club when he's leaving, everyone's like, fuck that guy, he's an asshole. But it's like, he's Zidane. It's like, he said, I can't wait to leave. You're like, he's still a legend.
It's like Mahrez. He was sat in the airport on deadline day, just in case there was any offers from any clubs abroad. And you literally waited in the airport on deadline day. Obviously, it didn't happen. But I don't like it is so true, because Mahrez is still one of my favourite, if not my favourite, Leicester players ever. Yeah. But then you look at players like Chilwell, Wes Fofana, and stuff like that. It's like the way that they left, it's talked about massively differently, but then neither of those are in anywhere near the same conversations in terms of what they achieved at Leicester.
No, it's true. I mean, Henderson could probably be put into that category for us, you know, like in that Henderson's appreciation, he's appreciated by a lot of people here, but then, you know, I think Henderson leaving was kind of like a shock transfer, to be honest with you. I mean, he's our captain, and there was really no rumors about him ever really being on the chopping block, or at least being on the transfer block. And for him to go, kind of a little bit a silver lining blessing, you know, in the sense of allowing us to at least get something in return for him, in the sense of the money that we got for him. And also it wasn't a role that he was willing to take on. I mean, like him leaving ended up bringing spots in that midfield that we were going to be replacing anyway, in the sense of the minutes that he would have been playing, you know. And sometimes it also comes down to the locker room. In my opinion, it comes down to the locker rooms. Like, do you want that kind of, you know, tension in the locker room with a player that is unsettled or uneasy with like his playing minutes and such? It's kind of what I hope happens at Real Madrid with their situation, because there's no way you're
talking about them. We're
Yeah.
talking about them. That's a really interesting one because he gets kind of judged later on what he did with Michael Owen. But Steve McManaman left Liverpool when he was at his peak,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we were
For
like
Real
a
Madrid.
top
Yeah.
team. He
Hmm.
left on a free. Like we got
Hmm.
nothing for him. Like he could
Nothing in
have signed a
return.
new
Yep.
deal. Like Anta's
Yep.
saying with Maguire and like with McAllister did with Brighton.
Hmm.
McAllister could have gone for a free that summer, signed a new deal in like March or something, so they could get 35 million for him, and we paid that money. Everyone was happy. Uh, McManaman walks away from Liverpool, goes and does his thing. Nobody
Hmm.
really hates McManaman. They don't like him afterwards for his pundit, but nobody hates McManaman. Everybody hates Owen. Owen left with a
Hmm.
year on his deal, and we got 16 million and Antonio Nunes. It was a horrible deal, right? Well, didn't even get 16.
Hmm.
It was a terrible deal. But we got money for him. We got, he stayed as long as he could. He was injured. He knew his best days were behind him. But nobody hated on McManaman.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
I mean,
weird. I've
yeah.
always found that one weird. I think, and that was before Owen even joined. Like basically the way I look is like you would imagine that it was Owen that left for free. You would imagine
Yeah.
that it was Owen that ran his deal down, didn't sign, and was a hugely valuable. Like McManaman would have been a really valuable player. It's like,
No,
okay,
I get
look, just
that. I get
sign and
that.
we'll sell you.
Yeah.
Look, yeah, just sign up and we'll sell you. You can go if you want.
Right.
He was like, no, 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 I'm going to run it down. But no one really kind of hates on him. So that's what I'm saying with Ant. It's like it's so
Yeah.
like it's so dependent on who. Like one guy could like walk out your club, flicking bees on the way out the door, but like he was your favorite player, so you're like, yeah, but it was his dream club to go to. Whereas some other guy, like it really changes how you affect. Like, but yeah,
Yeah.
like
Well,
my
it's
man,
also
McManaman is
similar
still a
to this
popular guy.
wasn't someone that left on a free, but this is a question. Why did you release that player, by the way?
He was offered a new contract, didn't sign it, and the club wouldn't meet his demands. So it's like Iheanacho as well. I think there's a fair few players like this. I like Iheanacho. I think there's a decent player there. But if he was
Hmm.
ever going to step up and be the main man, it was this year in the championship,
Hmm.
Yeah,
and he
exactly.
didn't. It's like there's only so long you can keep saying there's a player there.
Yeah,
There's a player there. It's like, yeah, there's a player there, one in every 5 games. I think it's just best to cut ties with him now. And
he flatters to
if
deceive.
he's not willing to meet the if he's not willing to meet sort of with the club halfway, off you go, mate. Good luck to you. Thank you for the FA Cup, but like
Yeah,
best.
thanks for ruining our fucking title hopes. Anyway, but
I'm still convinced to this day
Let's
he
move
missed that on
on.
purpose.
There you go. There are some questions. I have a question
yeah.
in here for Liverpool's concern. It says, please provide from Richard. He says, could you please provide more context or specific questions regarding Arnie Slot boards and Liverpool FCs so that I can provide a detailed breakdown and analysis? He says, we require a left back at number 6, a right winger in the summer transfer window. What other areas do we need to strengthen at LFC squad?
We require. What did you say?
Go
Sorry.
ahead, Brian. You want to answer that one, and then we'll let even give
No,
an outside perspective.
it disappeared again. We
Oh yeah, I can
require
bring
a
it up.
left back. No, it's not a left back. Number 6.
No, not left back.
A
Left center
right
back.
winger.
Left center back.
Oh, sorry. Oh,
Left
that's
center
number
half.
6.
However you want to reference it.
What other area? Okay, so he's made up his mind on what other area do we need? That hasn't been mentioned. I would say the obvious one would be, even though it's gone a bit quiet on the Queeving Kelleher out the door type, but again, the Euros is happening, so I would imagine goalkeeper.
Mhm.
Obviously not first choice goalkeeper, but if Adrian has decided to leave, that's your third choice keeper gone, and Queeving Kelleher goes, that's your backup keeper gone. So uh, that's an obvious spot because
Mhm.
you do Ali does his shoulder and he's out for 6 weeks after 2 games. Worst case scenario, we we actually need a real. We need a proper goalkeeper on the bench if Queevy and Keller is going. So out of that, I mean, he's mentioned the main ones: right
Mhm.
wing, LCB, um, DM. But yeah, that would be other than those. That would be the main point that I'd be looking at.
Yeah, it looks like
And
he's suggesting to
yeah,
sell Sepp Vandenberg, and he's also suggesting to sell Reese Williams, and just as you mentioned, Kelleher as being his 3 selections that he would be willing to sell. It says, you have some inclusion you want to bring in?
No, I'm just laughing at Greg asking me for my opinion on John Rodkin. That's why I'm laughing, because he's our
Okay.
director of football. But pretty much every I'd say about 90% of Leicester fans don't want. So that's why I'm laughing, because
Okay.
the lad Greg in the chat is the lad that I go to all the away games with as well. So he's one of my
Okay.
best mates. So he's just sat there, just like
Just trying to like
just trying
poke
to
the bear.
stir, just trying to stir.
Poking the bear, stirring the tea.
Greg's on a wind up basically. Greg is on a wind up.
Got you. I
Yeah.
got you. No, I can understand some of the selections that he's made. I think if we were to sell these 3 players that he mentioned, by the way, if you were to sell Vandenberg, I think we could get at least 10 to probably like 10 to 15 million for him. I think that we'll get probably around 2 to 5 million for Reese. And then for Kelleher, I know that the evaluation has been upped. I think it's because of the market, obviously, but I know that originally people were thinking, oh, well, we'll sell them for 20 to 25 million, but now it's going anywhere up to 35 to 40 million because let's be honest, like as in the numbers that they're asking for Ramsdale, the numbers that they're asking for a lot, for a lot of these players, a lot of these goalkeepers out there that I think personally Kelleher is better than, then I don't think that you should sell cheap if you don't have to, and I think that we'd be willing to like sit on our hands until someone comes with an evaluation that we think is right. And if you take those numbers that I said, we're looking at 15, let's say 5 for Reese, and then let's say we get 40. That's a high number, I know, 35 to 40. So let's just say 40 to make it easy numbers. That's 60 million that we now have from 3 players that you wouldn't have necessarily thought you would have gotten that kind of return from. So, but the PSR rules that you spoke of earlier are important to consider too, because a lot of these players, all 3 of these players are players basically that it's all profit for the most part. Albeit we did transfer for Sepp and everything else, but for the most part they're all profit, and that's initially what you were talking about earlier, which is quite often you're now being forced to either sell big names to try to make big profit, or you're going to have to sell some of your youth academy or youth players or players that have promise, but try to get a real return on them, really realizing that it's not like, okay, you might have brought in a player, I don't know, whoever, you might have brought in player X for 20 million and then you sell them for 30 million. That's only a 10 million profit, that you're making off of it. But if you sell Kelleher for 40 million, guess what? That's a 40 million profit, So that's a big difference.
Yeah.
There is a question for you too.
I don't know something, but just quickly on that, I think look, this is a psychology thing, but you can get very down the line on something. You can get real like this is the line, and this is good, this is bad, but like there's good and bad in everything. There's no black and white. There's no right and wrong. So it's like, I'm not standing up for PSR, but when you're just talking about that one thing again, this is something that literally has just occurred to me, is that you're saying it's just like I'm not talking about now. It's just like selling academy players that are really really good for big money, selling young players. It's like that's an incentive to have a good academy, right? That's an incentive to bring through players and to coach players really, really well. Now, I'm just saying this is just a side effect. I'm not saying this is the reason for this. This is one thing that will actually maybe kind of tell people, it's like, look, If you put in the time and work, and you bring in 10 good players, right? Two of them, if you're lucky, one of them
Mm.
will be good enough to go into your first team and be a proper player. But maybe you might have, because you've done a really good job at a really good academy, have 4 or 5 other kids who, okay, cool, right? They're not quite good enough to get into your team, but guess what? You've trained them, you've coached them, you've got 50, 60, 70 million quid's worth of players here. Maybe it encourages some. I'm not. Look, it's just something that popped into my head when we're talking about. Maybe this is one good thing that might come from this. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. My thing with it is, it's like if that was done legitimately in players that were sort of being sold of their true value of youth players.
Of
I hear
course,
that
yeah.
logic.
If it's done right, like, of course, if it's fair and
But
legit, like, yeah.
But it's been for years. You've seen players that haven't kicked a ball for the first team being sold for millions, and it's like there's only so much you can sort of buy a player on potential for when they haven't kicked a ball for the first team.
Yeah, definitely. Just like you say, development. There's only so many.
Well, just
You don't get to walk into a team because you might be good in 4 years, or you played for Chelsea on their books for 4 years, but yeah, why does that make you worth 10 million when some kid from Bristol who's probably just as good? Yeah, this thing, man, it's a swamp, really, and it's trying to look for like the good part of the swamp, like
the thing. And I just use this again. It's not as an anti-Liverpool thing. It's not as if it's just a thing that's all of a sudden happened overnight. You look at Brewster. Is it Brewster, the lad that went to Sheffield United a few years ago? He barely established himself at all, really, going for 25 million. It's like that's where I think it's.
In fairness to
Brewster, is where I think it's like.
Well,
there's no incentive for him to then be developed if straight away you can get him to a £25 million player. And then, like, you look at Man City, Harwood Bellis, Callum Doyle, Lavia, all of these players that then have gone on to be world-class, have world-class potential elsewhere. Very few of them have even kicked a ball for Man City, yet they've made themselves about £150 million profit.
The only thing I will say on Brewster is, obviously, I agree, but he did go on loan to Swansea and score 12 in like a half a season on loan, which is why Sheffield went in for him. But it was like, that guy is worth 8, maybe 9 million at a push. But they went in like 25 minutes. Like, what are you doing? Like, Sheffield United just got promoted, and they spent their lottery winnings on a guy who, might be, maybe the next Ian Wright, or the next Michael Owen, next something like that. But he had done nothing whatsoever to prove that you should spend, as a Sheffield United, £25 million.
Yeah,
the guy. Yeah, that's just poor management. Again, his career probably.
It was just, that's one example. But you look like there's so many like that, and it's like that's where I think it's like there's actually no benefit to developing young players. It's like if you can sell them quickly, but like you're going to turn just as much of a profit and be in just as good a position. But this is why, like, I always think that academies are not, like, 90% of the time they're not there to get players into the first team. They're there as a business.
No, they're not.
To be able to sell players.
Exactly, they are. Yeah, 100% they are. Yeah,
but
at the top level, that's why Brentford scrapped their academy, and they only brought it back because they had to bring one back to be in the Premier League, because they were like, this is not for we buy players. They saw through it. It's just like, it is. It's a talent factory for kids, and if that one guy is a Bellingham or whatever, cool. But the rest of them, they just fund. Yeah, but look, that's football. That is football.
I think I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but I was just going to say that, I mean, look, one of the youth talents that we are very bullish on, and actually did get a chance to play for us, albeit it was like a sole appearance. But Trey Neone, a player that you had in your youth academy, for instance, he is someone that we have high hopes on. We're about to actually go in for our first signing of the year. This is something that people probably don't really know, or maybe they do know. But from what I've researched or what I've seen is that our first signing, for instance, isn't going to be a big name. It's probably going to be a name that you've never heard of. And that's because it's probably going to be a player from Wolves. He's a 17-year-old named Alvin Amon, who's very, very, he's a midfielder. And again, he's part of their youth academy type player, but he's very, very big on, they're very big on him. What's that?
Very highly
rated. Yes, definitely highly rated. Yeah,
of course. That's what I was.
And very promising young midfielder. Can play defense. Can play defense as well. So I don't know if that maybe constitutes that he could play maybe a DM role or not. But it does. He does have defensive measures in his locker. And again,
this is what you do.
This is what the game has become. It's about now developing youth players. And again, I think that goes to, you can make money from these youth players earlier and more often, rather than wait till they've been, loaned out to 3, 4, 5 different teams. Now you're at least bringing them into your system so they can learn your system. I personally don't even truthfully like when players get loaned out. I'd rather them play with the youth academy team, because that way they learn the system and are more likely to be able to advance into your senior team. But that's my personal opinion. But
that's why you have the recall. So like when you send them out to teams, it is guys out that are actually playing the same system that you would play. And that's sometimes it's like they send them out. Like that's why Tony Mowbray got a lot of Liverpool players, because he was playing them the way we wanted them played. But yeah, you bring in the guys. Sorry, and I'll let you come. It's just you bring in every year. You bring in the Neones, the new highly promising young guys, and at the end of the day, how many of them make it into the first team? You just gamble every year. You gamble on the new 4 or 5 hot prospects that you can get, right? And you see it every year. Every club at whatever level they're at, they bring in 3 or 4 16, 17-year-olds. And one of them hope. That's all you have to hope when you bring in 4 or 5 of them every year, and it's only statistically one of them might become good enough. And if you train them well and you bring them into a brilliant system, like we have, even if they aren't just quite elite enough to be able to represent a club our size, like Liverpool or even Leicester, like the Premier League is the size it gets. Don't forget, not everyone can play. Even if that they don't quite make it, you've made them so good and you've improved them so much that, you make a little profit, but they can go on to a good club. They can go on to a step up and go to a Brighton or a Bournemouth and have strong careers. That's all you can hope for. That to me is like the best case scenario. But you also bring in your finished article guys, and you have these boys in behind them. But Nelante, I see, is in the chat. Nelante, the link is there, man. The link is there.
Yeah. I'll put the link in again, man. If you want to hop in. If you have time to hop in, definitely hop in.
My thing is, I agree with a lot of what you have both said. But one thing I do find stranger is like a lot of what you both said is very true. But now Villa and Everton and Chelsea have been doing it recently. It's been looked at in a very different way than when sort of City, Arsenal, and you guys have been selling these youth players for over 10 million. I don't know if it's because it's a swap deal, like that's raised eyebrows, but it's been something that's gone on for years. But now it's looked at in a very different light when the deal with Kelly, is it Kellyman? From to Chelsea. It's like I don't know. It feels like that's been looked at in a very different way, and I don't know if I'm sort of looking into that too much. But
no. I'm laughing now at Greg's comment too, by the way, because he's asking for me to bring up, I guess, we're talking about youth academy players, and he brought up Tom Hopper, and I was like, the 30-year-old.
Don't even. No. Don't.
Okay.
I'll explain that to you after the stream, man.
Okay. All right. But how did you feel about? But how did you feel about actually? Then, for instance, how did you see a player in Trainioni before he actually got transferred or got acquired by Liverpool, for instance?
The first time I heard of him was when he left our academy and signed for Liverpool, and there was a tribunal about it.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not going to lie to you. The only
he was like 15.
I really sort of have got.
Yeah, he was
Ben Nelson.
He was literally a child. Like he was 15. So okay.
Great.
Greg might have had his eye on him, man. But Ben Nelson.
Oh well, hello. That is Ants. That is not the view.
Yes, that's not the view.
That is not
the channel.
But Ben Nelson is our young centre-back prospect. He's like an England under-21 international. Will Alves plays for the England under-21s. So we've got, as you said, we've got 3 or 4 really bright sparks who are on the verge of the first team. But apart from that, I couldn't tell you.
Where are you going to finish? Off the bat, right? First, quick answer. Next season, where are you going to finish?
15th.
Right. Okay. You happy with that, or?
Yeah, newly promoted team. I think you've got to be happy with that.
Yeah. That's fair enough.
Fair.
That's fair enough. And second question: Cooper gone by Christmas? Yes or no?
No.
Okay. Cool.
My thing is, I want to get behind him, and like.
No. Well, now pause. Yeah. Let's just again. PG moment. Yeah, you want to back him. You want to back him.
For God's sake, Brian, you're really bringing the standard down here, mate.
This is how it works over here, man. We sneak them in,
I've lost my train of thought, I'll be honest, mate.
Yeah. You want to back him.
Is that what Hopper does to you, I guess? Tom Hopper? Make you lose your train of thought? That was one of the major points, though, with the you didn't. Who knows what you have with the 15, 16, 17-year-old player by bringing up Trainioni. You hadn't even heard of him until he actually was transferred. I'm sure some of the people in the chat. I know that right now we're apparently in the market or possibly pursuing a Wolves player. How do you say his last name, Brian? Ryan Aït-Nouri.
Oh, Aït-Nouri.
Oh, he's fantastic.
Yeah, he's a great player, man. He is a great player. He's all.
But that's the funny thing about it is he's a great player going forward. He's not as in for a club like ours that gets on the back of Trent Alexander-Arnold for quote unquote not being good at defense.
This
guy's not good at. He's not some defensive lockdown player himself.
Yeah, but he's not. No, he's not a defender. No, I wouldn't see him as a defender. No, I wouldn't. No, he's not he's a defender at left back when you're playing for Real Madrid and you're beating and they can just play like Pele at left back. Yeah, he's one of those guys. But to me, he's he's a left winger. He's a left winger, maybe a left wing back kind of shit. But he's not a defender. No way. You're bringing him in. Oh, we're going to lock it down. No. That guy is back in the day, back in the 90s, or even the 2000s. He's a left winger. No way. It's just modern football. Mm-hmm. He's a fullback. That's all. But a great. For me, I love him in the squad. But I'm not going to pay what would they go. Wolves. Crazy money trying to act like Porto and Sporting and be all these 50, 60 million type prices for those guys. No, that was the kind of Pep Guardiola type thing. They'd buy him. So
there's another player also that we're in pursuit of. It's more now, as in, I think right now, I think Liverpool is doing something I do like to see, and that is hey, if you're not going to, really invest in your youth academy, then you know what, we'll take your players and allow for them to develop in our youth academy and possibly have. It's one thing I've been pointing out too to a lot of our Reds is that we have to appreciate the fact that there is a route from the youth academy to the senior team, because quite often many youth academy players don't ever see the pitch in a actual senior capacity, so it's certainly something that you have to keep in mind. I have a question from Bernie too. I'm not going to bring up the Danny Ward question, by the way. So I'm sure your opinion on Danny Ward is the same as ours as Reds as well. But the question is, when is Ali's contract due? I did put that in the chat. He's got 4 years left. Plus, will he stay? I believe he will. I think that when actually with our goalie coach that ended up staying on, he's one of the few coaches that actually ended up staying on with the team. I think that kind of made a significant, positive that he would stay as well, because that coach was particularly connected to Allison. And then she asked, if he left, would Kelleher get the number 1 slot? Without a doubt. But all will affect the outcome of Kelleher. And I think Ali's pretty safe. It's pretty safe to say that Ali isn't going to be moving on to big contracts, the big contract offer from Saudi Arabia. I know that right now there is going to be a really extra concerted effort, apparently, by Saudi Arabia to acquire Virgil van Dijk. I know that is certainly, they're making a whole nother push for that. But that's a whole nother bag, I guess you could say. I'm hoping that Virgil van Dijk gets. I hope Virgil van Dijk stays. Hope Trent. Obviously, hope Trent resigns a contract. I also hope that that Ali is comfortable or is content in being here, which I think he is, which is cool, which is very cool, because a lot of South American players, it's difficult for them to get so adjusted and so adjusted to life in England when they're used to, the confines of South America, much less maybe even going on. That's why I think Barcelona and Real Madrid and even the other clubs, some other clubs in Spain, have such a lure to them as well in pulling some of those players away from us.
Yeah, it's you're saying about Kelleher there.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Dan.
As a hypothetical, and I don't think Alisson is going anywhere, do you think he's ready to be number 1 at Liverpool? Because I feel like, and hear me out here, because I know you're going to laugh to start with.
Go ahead. Let me hear it. No, let's hear it.
I feel like you guys have got with Kelleher what we had with Danny Ward when he was number 2 for Schmeichel. You only see him occasionally, and when he plays, he did very well. But it's a huge difference between being a number 2 that comes in and does well occasionally than a number 1 playing week after week after week. And I feel like he's got a big reputation because he's done well when he's come in. But it's like, is he like? I still feel he's massively untested, and I feel like he was mentioned earlier against Aaron Ramsdale. I can't remember who said about him being a better keeper than Aaron Ramsdale. It's like there is potentially he could be that, and we see moments where he's been fantastic, but it's so limited. It's like, and you look back at a lot of people when we talked about Danny Ward before Kasper Schmeichel left, it's like, oh, Danny Ward's brilliant. Danny Ward's like a very good keeper, because all we saw him was cup games and when Schmeichel was injured. But it's like, it's 2 different things. I think.
You say being a cup, being someone that plays in cups as opposed to being a league, being like a player.
Well, just being a number 2, where like I think you had it where Alisson was injured for a period, didn't you? And Kelleher came in. We had a similar thing with Schmeichel, where Schmeichel was injured. Ward came in for a couple of games and did very well. And he lived off that reputation for about 2-3 years at Leicester, where we didn't actually
he played
see
the cups.
Say that again?
But he played the cups. He was our cup keeper when we won.
Yeah, that's exactly the same as
both
Danny Ward.
cups.
Danny Ward played for cups.
No, but he played one, like he played for 2 seasons as the cup keeper. It wasn't just when I know what I'm saying, but he didn't just come in. So we do have a fairly good body of work. He won 2 titles. He won, like, he scored the winner in a cup final. He saved the winning penalty. He
scored the winning
went
goal.
all the way.
He
Yeah,
scored
like
the
he
winning
scored the
goal.
winner.
Yeah.
Like he went all the. It's like he didn't just come in for some. So I know, I get what you're saying, but I think obviously as a Leicester, like, you're not a Liverpool fan, but he did actually play. Like, he has played probably a lot more for us than people realize. Last season, he came close to playing as many minutes as Allison. If the season had probably
right.
been maybe a month shorter, he would have played close to as many minutes as Allison. And we've had two. He's played in 2 cup finals,
Mhm.
1, 2. Been pivotal in a lot of them. So he does have a big body of work. Like,
Mhm.
you know me, Ant, I don't go overboard on people.
Yeah.
Like, he
Just
does.
looking at him.
He
So
But
it's
he's
looking at
no.
him
You
here.
were just gonna say, like, as a would he be ready to step in for Allison? I think we might maybe just about get away with it. I don't think it'd be an enormous downgrade. I, Again, yeah, it's an intro. You won't know until you try it. But I think he's put in enough body of work for us to be able, like, I would say, like, 12 pounds saying 40 to make it easy. I'd say, well, look, let's round it down, maybe 25.
Yeah, because
In just in a what keepers, it basically, and that's not about what he's worth or how good he is. That to me is purely based in cold hard. How much can a club that he will go to afford to spend on a goalkeeper? That's all that number is based on. It's
yeah,
nothing to do with him as a player. So
it's
yeah, I don't know. He's a difficult one, but I think he's good enough to play for anyone in the Europa League slash Champions League spot. Not Champions League, lower Champions League spot of the the Premier League, and definitely good enough to be far and away the number one. Anyone below that, that's how
it's
good I think he is.
it's an interesting one because looking and, like, as I say, like, I feel like with Allison, you've almost got that when Allison goes, whoever comes in, and you could go and sign like the world record fee for a keeper. It's big shoes to fill, regardless. But looking at it, he's played 10 league games this year, 1 the season before, 2 the season before, and 2 of that. So it's the consistency, isn't it, of playing week after week after week. But as you said, you won't know until it's tested. But I suppose he is the Irish number 1 as well, isn't he?
No, not anymore. That's the problem. Well,
Who's
that's not the problem. I think that Gavin Bazunu, who was at
Jesus
Southampton,
Christ,
yeah.
he is tragic. Sorry, I've
Well,
watched
he
too much
plays every
Southampton.
week. But he plays every week, you see. So
That's
he
why
was the
Southampton
guy that was
conceded
at
so
Man
many
City.
goals.
I can boot you out, you know. No, but yeah, no, that's like, I don't know exactly if, like, the world's biggest problem for Kelleher is not playing for Ireland. It's not like he's missing out on a place in the World Cup. He's probably more interested in his club career, and the Ireland place will come after that. But he was our number one, and then he stopped playing. And Bazunu gets a move to Southampton, so he's playing every week. But yeah, look, it's Ireland. That's the least of his worries, I'd say. Um, but look, I just think he's nearly 20. He's 25 now. It's time to either S or get off the pot, as it were. I think for him with his career. So
Mm-hmm.
I just want to see him play every week at a club like Brighton or
He played
something like that. I think that's his level, something like that.
He played 900 minutes this year. Alisson played in 2,520 minutes. So it isn't. He definitely would have had to, picked up a lot more games to have equaled or have gotten the same amount of minutes.
Just out of curiosity, what's his
Mhm.
Premier League minutes?
Okay. Let me break that down. Let me see.
Sorry, I didn't know if there's a website, isn't there, where you can just click on it. It tells you, and I forget what it is, but.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? I can get it for you. Actually.
Well, there's a few of them, but FAFRF maybe something like that. Yeah. But,
Normally sometimes I have.
And I have a question for you, Ant. Let's just say, post Ranieri. Sorry, pre Ranieri, right? Pre Ranieri. Okay. Who's your favorite Leicester player? Who's your poster on your wall?
Mahrez.
I mean, no. Before that era, like say just before, like say going back to the Martinelli, like when you were a young kid, like when you were like 6 or 7. Who was the?
I know he was still around when Ranieri was there, but his best days were well behind him. Andy King.
Oh, Andy King. Yeah. Okay.
Because I know, I know he was a Premier League winner and like part of that Ranieri squad, but Andy King was that was prime Championship Leicester, and that was the League One days. He's one that's, I think he's the only player to have won League One, the Championship, and the Premier League at the same club.
Nice. Yeah. No, I wouldn't say. Yeah, I wouldn't say you're far off. If he has done that, he won't be Matty Fryatt. Yeah, these are the big ones, you see. Like, do you remember the Martin O'Neill days, or
no? Martin O'Neill was that was just probably before my time, really. So but bringing back memories with names like Matty Fryatt and Andy King. Good times. It's like, the thing is, I look back at Andy King with such fond memories. I bet you if I was watching him now in the Premier League, I'd think, compared to what he was in the Championship, I would have loved to have seen Andy King at his best when Leicester are at their best and see if he was at that level.
Mm-hmm. Those numbers were Premier League actually only.
Oh,
so he might have played, since he was our cup goalkeeper. He might have played actually closer to Alisson's numbers. The league numbers, I'm on the Premier League website. The league numbers that they have is 2,520 minutes for Alisson, and for Kelleher 900 minutes. So those are his Premier League player stats. But if you do add in the other stats, it'll probably be even larger, even closer. But the one thing is to answer your question, at least from my perspective, is that I think Kelleher is quite possibly top 10 goalkeeper in Premier League right now. As a number 2.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that just because I'm a Red. I get that. I know I saw you kind of, but tell me.
I don't agree. I don't agree with it, but I respect it.
Yeah. I mean, tell me, if you were to go through the teams, I bet you that you would, in putting their goalkeeper versus Kelleher, you would certainly take Kelleher over the majority.
Right, let's do it then.
You haven't met Ant. No, Ant will definitely do that for you. If that's it, Ant is your guy to do that for you, without a doubt. Yeah.
Right, should we go through the Premier League, and I'll just give you honest opinion of
But someone quickly before you start this vicious take.
And we can include the chat on this one too.
Yeah, but before you start this vicious takedown, which I'm really looking forward to, by the way, someone mentioned Muzzy. Is it in the chat? Obviously, Ant, you remember Muzzy, is it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he actually
was before my time, but you learn about your club.
Yeah, before your exactly. But you know who I'm talking about. He actually was in that year that he was at his best, was the top assist. I'm not sure if he was the outright assist top maker, outright top assist maker, but he was at least tied in the Premier League. That guy, Muzzy is it was quality. Like back in the day, you had tricky little number 10s and all that. Muzzy is it was a real quality player. Those little Turkish lads, probably the original Mesut Ozil. He was that kind of vibe about him. But definitely top assist maker in the Premier League. I'm going to guess, what year were ye good in the Premier League?
That would have been, I'm guessing that was
90.
03-04.
Yes, that season. Around there. Okay, right, 12 man. Get ready for a pasting because I don't hold back here. Okay. So
Right.
I'm not going to get involved here.
We're going to see.
I'm not going to get involved here.
All right. So I'm bringing it. Wait, before we get started, I'm bringing in
Okay.
Delonte, so he doesn't have
right
to
in the
sit
middle of
in the back. Big up Delonte, by the way. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm alright, guys. How you doing, man? It's been a rough week. Not been a great week for me, but I don't really want to get to that. It's just some other stuff, but that's fine anay. But main thing is how you guys all do. Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, later. Yeah.
Yeah. We wish you the best with whatever you're going through, for sure.
Nothing but love, man. Nothing but love.
No, appreciate Bright 12. Appreciate it, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, you're gonna go through these teams here.
Here we go. Okay. Get them shoulders loose, Ant. Get them shoulders loose.
Right. Should we start with Man City? I think Edison and Ortega. I think I'd take both of those.
Bing, that's two. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I don't think Ortega's better than Kelleher, but okay.
There's two.
Right.
There's two.
But that's okay. Okay.
Yeah. Arsenal, I'll take Ramsdale and Raya.
Bing, there's four.
Okay.
Liverpool.
It's getting difficult.
Liverpool, obviously, Alisson.
Okay.
There's five.
Villa, I'll take Martinez.
You didn't think he was going to pick Alisson, did you? Bing. Here we go.
Spurs, I would take Vicario. I really like Vicario. I think
he is a goalkeeper. He is a very good goalkeeper. Okay. Yeah.
Chelsea, no, I wouldn't take Petrovic and I wouldn't take Sanchez. So stay there. Okay. Newcastle, I'll take Pope.
Don't
take Pope. Okay, so now we're on.
Okay, now we're going to have a fight. Now we're going to fall out.
No,
we'll leave it. We'll park
come
it.
On,
we'll park
right,
it. No, he's doing his list. He's doing his list.
Right, United.
Let him go.
Yeah.
Let him go. No, he's got him go.
United.
I'll
take Onana. Like, people laugh at him, but Onana has been quality for 90% of the season. It's just that start of the season he was absolute dog.
Inter Milan, he's very
Palace. Who is Palace's keeper now?
Well, you've got Henderson.
Henderson is not better. Henderson is not better.
You've got Johnston as well. He's still there. The club.
Yeah. They started with Sam Johnson at the start of the year, and then they went to Henderson. So it's
Henderson, the buy.
Yeah. Thing is, I like both of those keepers. I'd say neither are better than Kelleher.
Interesting.
Fulham, Leno.
I like Leno.
I like Leno. Yeah, as of right now, just because he's more established. But
I like Leno.
I think you can make a case for either of them. West Ham. Who's West Ham's keeper? Areola.
West Ham is
Areola.
Yeah. Probably I'll give
Areola of Kelleher right now.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah.
Everton, Pickford. Yeah, I'd say Pickford.
Oh, here we go. Now he's banned for life. Okay, where's the ban button?
I know, exactly.
Wolves, Jose Sarr. Jose Sarr's not like, he had a brilliant first season, but he was very poor last season, weren't he? Like,
you've gone way past 10 at this stage, by the way.
No, he's not. He's actually at that would be 9.
That's got to be.
That's with Pope. That's with who else did you put in there?
We're giving him. Well, I'm giving him. Okay.
I'm not giving him. I wouldn't said Pope.
Okay,
but I
really? No, Pope's better. Yeah, Pope's better.
It's
Pope is not better. Pope is
Forrest,
not. There's a reason why. Pope is not better because there's a reason why they want to get rid of him or they're trying to replace him. It's because Pope can't play the ball. Most teams want a keeper that can play.
Let him go. Let him finish. Let him finish his list.
Forest. I'm not even bothering looking at Forests. Luton, not looking at Luton.
No.
We're really sort of
Scraping the barrel, and we're not
scraping
even
the
at
barrel
10.
there.
Sheffield
Do you want to look
United.
What
Shall we
about the
look at
newly promoted teams, Ant? What about
Mads
the newly
Hermansen?
promoted teams?
I will say I'll put Mads Hermansen. You're going to laugh, but he's Denmark's number 2, best stats in the championship last season in terms of distribution, in terms of shot save percentage. It's like, don't believe me, have a look at it. Ipswich's keeper, like him, but I'd
I was just doing it from last year. I didn't do it from this year.
Yeah.
I was doing it from last year.
Ipswich's keeper, I like him, but he's just a bog standard keeper. And then, do I need to say any more? Bazunu for Southampton.
Are you kidding me? Are you
No, I'm not taking Bazunu over.
Now you're just
No, I'm not taking Bazunu over. I'm not taking Bazunu over Kelleher, but absolutely not. Kelleher 110 times over.
Yeah, Bazinu's all right, but he's
Gosh,
But,
that is rough. But that's you said with all the names you said, that's still just that would have been just 10.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been 9 actually. It would have been 9.
Just quickly, Doug. Just want to say hi to Doug.
Definitely. Big up.
Let's come in, and I don't know why you've only just subbed. I mean, I'm not going to pretend I'm not heartbroken, but I thought you would have done. But anyway, Doug, come on, what's taking you so long? Really? The link is in the chat. Want to join in?
Yeah.
All that stuff. So yeah, Doug's a great guy, man. Bring him in. If you're free, Doug, call in, man. Call in.
Yeah, so again, you had Pickford, you had Ederson, you had Ortega. I don't necessarily think he's better, but then you had also obviously Ali, that's 4. You had Raya and Ramsdale, that's 6. You had
Emi Martinez.
Vicario, which is 7.
Vicario.
And then who else did you? And Martinez at 8. And then who else did you have?
Leno.
I'm not putting Leno in there.
No, he had, but he picked Leno. So
I know, but
if you're asking what his numbers, I'm just saying.
I know. But all the same, even if you
but I'm just saying if you're asking who he picked Leno. I'm just telling you who he picked.
I got you, Brian. I got you.
If you're adding them up, I'm just saying
adding them up. Leno 9, and then who's your 10th?
Pope.
And Pope.
Oh, and also Pickford. If you haven't included,
I put Pickford in there. Yep, Pickford in there. That would be 10. So, okay. I think that's an interesting list. I would say. I think Kelleher fits in before. I think he's better. He's a better keeper than. I think he's a better keeper than Ramsdale. I think he's a better keeper than Pope, and I also think he's a better keeper than even Ortega. And I would even go as far as to say, did I include Leno too? I put him ahead of Leno too. And this is my opinion, obviously. And that would, I think if you really put it to it, the difference that I can say with Kelleher is that he has been influential in winning things for our club. So a lot of those keepers have not won a thing.
No, but then I think that's not purely down to them, though, is it?
I know, but I'm just saying.
You could say, and I know you lot don't like him because of who he plays for, but Pickford's like fantastic keeper, but he's not going to win anything at Everton.
You're not going to ever hear me say he's fantastic, so that's not going to ever happen. But I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
But it's like certain players will play for clubs for their entire career because they're happy at that club. When Letitia is an example, I know he's turned into a right tit and someone should take his internet off him now, but he's a prime example of a player who, like, his ability and his trophy cabinet will never match.
Who's this now? Sorry, I missed. Who are you talking about?
Matt Letitia.
Oh yeah. Oh, total weirdo. Don't want to talk about him after he left football. But we will probably in my top 3 favorite players when I was growing up. That guy, his best 10 goals is just, it's stupid. Just Google Matt Letizier's best 10 goals. Like, every one of them is something that most players would have dreamed to be able to do. It's ridiculous what he did. But proper weirdo.
I just also think, though, that, like,
hates Liverpool too, by the way. Hates Liverpool.
If you had Kelleher at any, so it's still a stretch, all the same. Whether either if you do keep the 10 that you said in there or not, it's still a stretch to not say that Kelleher is certainly 11 then on your list, or 12.
Yeah.
And that would make him as being, but it just so happens that he sits behind the best goalkeeper in the world. That's the reason why often you don't see him get the opportunity to play, but he does play. And when he has played, he's kept up the levels of what we had in net to an extent. Not exactly to Alisson's levels, but certainly.
This is exactly what I was saying, though, with what Danny Ward was doing for Kasper Schmeichel, because Kasper Schmeichel, probably not the best ever keeper to play for Leicester, because I think that'll be Gordon Banks and Peter Shilton. I don't think anyone's ever going to get near that. But in terms of a modern era, Kasper Schmeichel, over 400 appearances, club legend. And
modern era, definitely Schmeichel, yeah.
Yeah. But when Danny Ward filled in for him, on these occasional periods, the level didn't drop. It was only until he was the main man, and then
did Danny Ward have different? Did for instance, and this is why I'm only asking this, because I want to get Milante in on this too, because I think Milante is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to the levels of players.
We've kept Milante waiting for a while, so
oh, I know. I'm gonna definitely get him in on after this. So, like, why I'm asking about Danny Ward and even Schmeichel is one unique thing that I can say about, and again, maybe Milante could back me up on this, or maybe he thinks opposite, but I think that Kelleher is a better skill player with his feet than Alisson is. And they're both, I'm not saying that Alisson doesn't have skills with his feet. He's a talented player, but I think that Kelleher has shown to be more comfortable with the ball at his feet. And so often nowadays, when teams are looking for keepers, they're a lot more often than not, they're looking for sweeper keepers or keepers that can play as that kind of keeper per se. And that's why, for instance, I said Nick Pope is not a viable choice in comparison when it comes to Kelleher. And it all depends on system, of course, but do you think I'm too far off, Milante, on saying that? Do you think that Kelleher is better at his feet than Alisson?
Wow. 12 was Rome built in a day. Interesting conversations right here.
We're ripping band-aids off, yeah.
Exactly. Well, that's fine. We're here to rip the band-aids. Big up Ant yourself as well, man. Just a wealth of knowledge as well, man, with the, with Leicester and obviously other football stuff. I'll big yourself up, Ant. Interesting conversation from all of you, honestly. Kelleher better than Alisson? No, not for me. What Kelleher does better than Alisson, I will give him that though, is sometimes, I can't remember, I know Alisson, he's had one or two little mistakes. What he does is that when the ball comes to him, he doesn't waste the ball more times after not. He just clears it, or just he doesn't do anything extravagant. That's what I would say about Kelleher. Alisson sometimes and he does pull it off, sometimes does a bit too much. Sometimes, so we take it in context, but Alisson still for me is the better ball player. Just Kelleher is just more simpler. He doesn't waste. When the ball comes to him, he'll ping it up, or if it's really open, he'll send the ball to whoever. So that's what I'll say about Kelleher. And regards to your thing about Pope not being better, again, it depends what you want in a goalkeeper, really. I know you're talking about the modern era in terms of keeper sweepers, but I think sometimes it's a bit overrated because we're looking at the whole package of a goalkeeper. And if we're talking about the whole package, Kelleher is good, but Pope, and I understand where you get Nokus, but Pope at this current time is better for me, personally.
Well, I mean, that's the reason why.
Great shot.
Great
shot. He's 35.
Yeah.
Nick Pope is 35. Great shot stopper, but he's old school.
Yeah, he's an
So
old school keeper.
it's
That's my point.
yeah,
Ramsdale, I
it's
think the
basically like
reason why Arteta didn't stick with Ramsdale because Ramsdale
but
is
look,
more of like your older. I wouldn't say older style. Like maybe
no,
that's not really, but he's like more like the traditional goalkeeper per se, and that he's a shot stopper. But the keeper that they have now is more of a has more ability to play with the ball at his feet, and that's why
does
Raya.
anybody?
But
But Raya has been picked by Arteta more than Ramsdale.
But to his detriment, to be honest, because I mean, Raya has been a big liability at times, and the only thing that saves Raya is the defense in front of him. For me, he's not better than Ramsdale. For me, before I would say Ramsdale is better, but he's just protected by who he's got in front of him. That's all.
To be fair, though, you could say that for any keeper, can't you? To a certain extent, they're only as good as the people in front of them. Like you see the best keepers, even when they get relegated. Like you've seen some brilliant keepers get relegated, concede goal after goal after goal when they've got absolute muppets in front of them.
Right.
So when we got relegated, you had Daniel Amati, Luke Thomas, and
oh yeah, my Ghanaian guy, Mr. Amati.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm bringing back this season to me. It's just PTSD and pain.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's just suffering after suffering after suffering.
Sorry,
We had
Bernie.
Wout Faze, who every 2 minutes was kicking the ball into his own net. Like, just pure.
No, I just want to say, Bernie, that ain't me. That ain't me, Bernie. That ain't me. I'm not hanging anybody, but that ain't me. Yeah, I just think Nalante, it's just all I want to say. It's great to have you back on, man. I have missed the sound of your voice.
Oh,
appreciate it, Brian. Appreciate it, Brian. Appreciate it.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Appreciate it, Brian.
I can understand. You almost made me slip and actually give Pickford a compliment. So I'm gonna skip over that and make sure I don't say that out loud. But but I mean, like, one of the main reasons why one of the reasons why you said Onana in that list, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't think that Onana is absolute garbage, but I think that there was a period when people were scratching their head as to what was the reason why they spent all this money. I mean, if you wanted clean sheets, De Gea was actually got you clean sheets, but go ahead.
I do disagree with that. I think in the last sort of year at United, 2 years at United, De Gea was a shadow of what he was when he was an incredible shot stopper. He was making mistake after mistake after mistake. But I don't think a month or 2 month bad period at the start of Onana's Man United career defines sort of what's been a 6-7 year career where he's been very successful.
Yeah.
My pushback against that would be De Gea got the Golden Gloves award, and we're talking about what's in front of you, as you spoke of earlier. So the same that was in front of De Gea is the same that's in front of Onana, if not quote unquote improved in there.
The Golden Glove Award I always take with a pinch of salt because it doesn't equate to the games where they lost 7-0 at Anfield, 4-1 at Brentford. It's like it does. You will like the gold clean sheets are great because it shows that you haven't conceded. But in terms of games that don't go towards that Golden Glove and that award, conceding 1 goal and conceding 7 goals goes down as the same.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. That's a fair point. Yeah, exactly. If you don't, but no. Look, that's one of those things. De Gea at the end, I think that because I think we all need to be round and fair here. Where we've said all night along the lines of Man United dumpster fire, anybody that goes there, yada yada yada, they're all doomed kind of thing. Yeah, Onana has been terrible at United, or was terrible. Got better, but he was also. It's undeniable. He was absolutely brilliant at Ajax, and he was absolutely brilliant at Inter Milan. He made some high-profile mistakes, as keepers do when they come in. Pretty much. He's someone who I think yeah, I just anybody over the last 3 to 4 years that goes to Manchester United and they do really badly. Yeah, okay, we can do the whole like judge them as a fan kind of thing, but you kind of hold back a tiny little bit because it's Man United, and you just kind of go, well, I reckon Onana at a good team with a good manager in a solid kind of thing, probably a really good goalkeeper. So it's yeah, we can't slag off Man United the way we do, and then just kind of single out their players for being terrible because I think it's a lot of them. I think like even the best players go there in the last probably. Well, yeah, obviously just call it pre-Ferguson. Even the best players go there, and yeah, it's hit or miss. So
It's like
yeah,
it's like Sancho. It's no coincidence to me he was absolutely balling before he went to United. Went to United, stunk the gaff up, and is absolutely balling now. Now he's left United.
I wouldn't.
yeah,
Yeah, I watched that Champions League
it's
final. He's
clearly not
not
a good
balling.
place to be.
Yeah, he's not
Clearly not a
exactly
good place.
balling out of control. But we all have our. I just happen to think that like I get what you're saying, with De Gea, but look, and this is it's not like I'm trying to be the De Gea, like support or defense league here at all. But 17 clean sheets, for again, this as you said, that the year that they end up for a team that's let up 7, he was part of the 7-0, 7-up game and stuff like that. Like it is testament of it is testament of like how you look at the Golden Glove award, but 17 clean sheets is 17 clean sheets. It's 17 clean sheets that he had in front of where he had to be on top of his game to get those 17 clean sheets, because it's not like Manchester United is some defensive juggernaut or something along those lines. So he was playing. I thought it was just so happens that they were ready to make a change, and I think Eric Ten Hag wanted to get a keeper that was good with the ball at his feet, and he wanted to actually refresh with a younger player, and that's what Onana.
Well, you could go deep into it. You could go like if you wanted to go super deep, you go okay. He gets how many? 17.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, 17,
how many were at home?
17 clean sheets.
Okay, right. So
in his last year.
How many,
in his last year.
so how many were at home, and how many were against teams that finished below top 10? So that's the way you could go with that. You know what I mean? So it's just like I don't want to get into that, right? I just know.
I mean, like that's
how
yeah.
good
But
these keepers are.
Even if you take it
No, that's what I'm saying. Like you could do that. I don't want to do that.
But even if you do that, even if you say, okay, well, how many were against bottom of the league teams or bottom table teams, that has nothing. I don't think that even shows.
No, but that's more. What I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You could do that if you
I know. I
get
you. My point though.
I'm just saying. Just wouldn't.
I would say that brings out even more credence to the fact of there's games. Liverpool fans alone should know there's games where we've gotten scored on by bottom. We were having problems with like the bottom table teams and getting scored on. Sometimes getting scored on, conceding early against. Yet we still consider our goalkeeper one of the best goalkeepers in the world. I think that I get what you're saying, but even more so, like if you're getting clean sheets, it's just that it's a really big accomplishment for a goalkeeper. It's the one thing that they always look for. Defensively, that is a stat that really resonates with you, is a clean sheet, whether you're a defender or whether you're the goalkeeper. And I'm not going to belittle the fact that he's gotten those clean sheets. More credit to him. That's
but just what I'm saying is if you wanted to do the whole that thing, you could break it down.
Mm-hmm.
But if you wanted, that to me is irrelevant because I don't need to really see that because you're talking about certain levels of goalkeepers.
Yeah.
And Pope are not even in the same conversation.
Yeah. My point is, Kelleher is better than Pope. That's my point.
Pope, I mean...
and he's better than Onana. I even go as far as to say that. I think he's better.
Yeah,
In my
Onana at
humble
Inter
opinion.
is
My humble
Onana at Inter, Onana at Ajax.
right.
I mean, the guys wasn't. That's why he gets the move, but it's very, very like that's why the first couple of games we had Allison, and he was
Mhm.
known for being a bit flamboyant, good on the ball. I didn't want to see that. I was just like, don't make a mistake, don't make a mistake, don't make a mistake. That's all I wanted. Don't make a mistake.
Right.
That that leads to a goal. Sorry, that leads to a goal, and everyone's
Mm.
like, "Oh, typical Brazilian trying too much flair." Crap. It's just like because that was his reputation. So it's just
The
like,
same
look,
could be said
just
for Edison. I know that. I get what you're
no.
saying.
But I meant for us. I was
Yeah,
like, look, whatever you do,
yeah,
just don't make a mistake.
It was against
Be a
Leicester that he
good
did, wasn't it? In
goalkeeper.
one of his first games, but he gave the ball straight to Iheanacho.
Yeah.
yeah,
I was like, dude,
yeah,
don't do that shit. Yeah. I was like, this is what we don't want.
yeah. There's a serious
Because
question here.
it's the English press. Just because of the English press.
It's a
Because
serious
if you
question.
make a
I'll leave
mistake,
it for the two English English citizens to answer. Serious question. Now we are all of your thoughts. Not wait. Serious question. Now, what are all of your thoughts? Excuse me, on England during the Euros, and how far do you think they will get? That is for Anthony and for Nalante. And you want to answer first, and we'll let Nalante go as well.
Yeah, I think keep it short and sweet until we play someone good. Like we'll scrape through against the poor sides, and then as soon as we play someone competent, we'll be out.
Nalante.
Yeah, same. Like I said, I don't really care too much about England. I'm more focused on Ghana. But in reality, man, the England team is it's just been over. It's just overrated, isn't it? And it's again media, internet, internet people moaning and this and that. And again, similar to Ant, once a good team comes up, they're just going to get dealt with. And again, you can see the three games. There's no tactical awareness, flawed, and Southgate as a manager just doesn't have again this simple, constructive brain to do certain decisions to make the team better. So yeah, they ain't gonna win it. If they win it, I'll run naked across the street. But there you go.
You have an answer. Irishman's doing well in our little fantasy league, so he's got a good. He's been watching a lot of the Euros. Do you have an answer for that one too?
what about what? Like, where
About
they
how
don't
far do you
have a
see England going?
personality, man.
No.
Very strange. You're talking about a team that has on paper, name them, apart from that kind of back four that got cobbled together a bit, but it's kind of it's Rice 100 million, Foden 100 million, Saka 100 million. Like if they were to go, Bellingham, Real Madrid, Ballon d'Or, Harry Kane 100 million, Bayern Munich. You're talking about some of the biggest, most potentially and you
Yeah.
get this football. You
Yeah.
get football that looks like stodge, like 0 goals scored, like 1-0. It's just a very weird experience to watch. I don't know what England fans are like. I don't care, right? I'm an Ireland fan, right? But it's like on paper, some of the best players in world football, and you watch them play against a Slovenia, a Czech Republic, Ukraine, and they look like what would I'd say lower. They look like I don't a Bournemouth. They look like something like that. They look so poor. I can't understand. I don't know what it's like to watch them. I know everyone hates Southgate. They really, really do. They really hate him.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
I don't. What do you do?
Well,
What do you do when you look at the names?
Yeah,
It's like
you're
what a
taking
team!
the
What a
leading
team!
scorer. You're taking the leading scorer from the Bundesliga. You're taking the MVP from La Liga. You're taking the MVP, the Player of the Year for England. You're taking players of that stature on a team, and the result is you're scraping by in these games with a goal here or there. That's Southgate deserves it. Deserves all of it. All right, so I have 3 quick points I want to bring up. One question, we're just going to do this kind of rapid fire. This question is for Ant. It says, regarding the Dewsbury Hall deal, it is mentioned that Chelsea would be interested to include David Datra, Fofana, and Cassetti, right, in the deal. Would you be interested in that deal?
I'd only be interested in Fofana. He's a good young up and coming striker, 21 years old. They like very raw, but you can see the potential with him. Mm-hmm. With Cassidy, we had him last year in the Championship. He struggled in the Championship. It's like the step up from the Championship to the Premier League's huge. It's like I was questioning whether Dewsbury Hall's going to step up to the Premier League, and he was one of our key players. So for me, Cassidy is one of those. Like, he's not a bad player, but it's like I just don't think he's good enough, if I'm honest.
Okay. Question here is, bring this up here. This question is from Honesty. The Egyptian FA are understood to have a growing acceptance that Mohamed Salah won't be part of the Egyptian squad that travels to Paris for the Olympics. Nolante, do you have a problem if Mohamed Salah goes to the Olympics for Egypt, and thus he would, as a result, miss the majority of preseason for Liverpool? Do you have a problem with that?
You know what? No, I don't. I think country's always bigger than club, in my opinion. So if that's what he wants to do, that's what he wants to do. I can't begrudge a man to do that. And we should have enough in this squad and firepower to deal with that for a month or so, however long, till he comes back. So that I ain't got a problem with it, if I'm honest.
He would be the flag. He would be the flag bearer, actually, for the Egyptian national team, or the Egyptian delegate that goes to the Olympics if he were to participate. And that's one of the major reasons why they're really pushing for him to be there, because he's possibly, arguably, the biggest star,
in terms of star, worldwide. Yeah, it makes sense. It makes
a lot of sense, but again, it would kind of take away from us getting him to be in camp. There is this question too, is that Real Madrid are prioritizing Lenny Yoro for the center back position, and there is nothing apparently for Calafiori. Are you Irishman? Are you all in on this Euro thing? Are you all in for Calafiori? Any of those
I'm not all in on any of it. I don't really know enough about either of them to pin my colours to the mast with any kind of sense of, I can back up what I'm saying. So all I know is Calafiore, according to Romano, wants to join Juve because Mata is there, and not only because of that, but because it's Juve. So that makes sense to me. He wants to follow his old manager to Juve, but because of the way that Juve took Mata from Bologna, Juve and Bologna don't have a great relationship at the moment, but that's not new in Italian football. If a deal can be done, it can be done. And as soon as Romano said Calafiore wants to join Juve and he wants to go and play for Mata, I don't know how big it, but he's an Italian who wants to stay in Italy. That to me strikes that one immediately off the table. I always say don't buy Italian. This to me is like tripling down on that. Yaro to me is no better than Kwanzaa. So
thanks, Brian. Big facts, Brian. Big facts.
Yeah, that's big no to both. If he wants to go to Juve, cool, go. If we are your second choice, no chance. And like I said, Yaro, to me, Kwanzaa is just as good.
Okay. There was also this last point I wanted to bring up before we start to land this plane. Let me just bring it up here. Find it here. Sorry. Oh, here it is. Before the arrival of Marcelo Bielsa to Uruguay, Darwin Núñez had only scored 3 goals in 16 matches. With Bielsa, he's now scored 10 goals in 9 matches for the national team. I think that's actually a record too, by the way, that he's on. He just set a record for Uruguay for most goals scored in consecutive matches or something along those lines. Have you guys been impressed with what you've been seeing? If you've been actually seeing some of the matches for Núñez with Uruguay, have you been impressed to say that there is a real player there, or are you along with the other parts of the internet that are still basically really on his back about, like, trying to emphasize the couple of misses that he's had in some of these games? Nolante, you want to start? Or
yeah, 12 with Núñez. I mean, yeah, fair play, but he's always kind of done well for his country. So, I mean, this is not the first thing. It's not the first time this has happened. He's got a good record in terms of goal scoring for Núñez, and it's good for us. But again, it's wait to be seen. I mean, I said when we got him, we'll give him 2 seasons. If he ain't cutting it, then we should think about, cutting our losses, but it looks like we're not going to. So he's got another season with us now. Again, he works hard, he does the right places to finish in. If he can't and again, I said he needs to bag at least 20 Premier League goals, and he didn't get that. I know we can talk about assists, but the main for him is the bank, put in there. Same thing, if you can't bag the goals, then this is last season for us, really, in terms of do or die, if he really is a Liverpool player. So, the jury's out. The jury is still out with Núñez.
Okay. Do you think that do you rate Irishman? Do you rate players that go and play international and they get some type of form? Do you rate that, or do you see it as like night and day? It doesn't matter what they do on the international playing field. It's just obviously it's just all about what you do for Liverpool. It's not or for your club team, not even just Liverpool, but just for your club team. Do you think that a player can take that form and bring it back with him, or is it, once he returns, it's just going to be that could just be out the door and not matter?
I can't answer that question because you give me 3 so what you're saying is if he go, do I judge him when he goes away and say, "Oh no, I don't"?
Do you think it matters?
No.
Do you think that players that find international form, does that matter at all to when they return to the club, to club?
Again, I can't answer that. I mean, every player is an individual. I mean, it's not like I will ever say, "Oh, okay, I'll try and answer." I would never say that a player going away and doing well is irrelevant. I would never say, I judge everything on its own merits. I try to. He's like I've said, everyone knows this guy is unbelievable when he's in the groove. To me, this is I wanted to talk about like we spoke about last night, and it got a bit mixed up. But I was saying there was a guy that put up a kind of a thing talking about how he is thriving in this Bielsa type system, and Ten Hag Slot plays a similar type system, which will be great, So I want to see this guy doing what he does for Uruguay for us, but that just like what you're talking about now. I would love to have seen Bielsa come in at some point in Liverpool, because this is the kind of a coach who it's very, very difficult to look at what he achieves and the results that he achieves and the play style that he achieves and look at what someone else might do, because Bielsa is probably one of the most out there, unique, one of a kind maverick coaches on the planet.
Yeah.
It's not
Mhm.
like you can't look at what he does and someone excelling in a Bielsa team and kind of transpose it onto something else
I get okay.
because
Well, wait
that guy is a real
before we
one-off. So that's all. No, but that's all I'll say with him.
okay.
So like I just want to see Darwin, who can obviously bang the ball in the back of the net, lose whatever shackles are on his
Mhm.
back, whatever weights are on his back that are dragging him down the Premier League. Maybe it's just the first goal, first game, scores twice, boom, off on a run. There you go. That's all it might take because he can
Okay.
score goals. So
Yeah.
whatever it takes, bring him in, start him up front, give him the first game, and say, "You're my man. You're my guy. You're our number 9. Uh, let's go away against Ipswich.
Mhm.
You're starting up front, and that's how it's going to be." He gets 2 goals in his first game, and brilliant. There we go. Let it run.
Okay. Yeah. Um, I wanted to make sure that we allow for Ant's got to go, so wanted to make sure that we said got a proper thank you and an appreciation for hopping on the stream here. Wanted to give you also an opportunity to shout out your channel and to say your last parting words.
Cheers for having me, mate. Hopefully talk to you guys all again throughout the season.
Oh,
But yeah,
certainly.
Ant's Leicester fan channel, so home and away match day vlogs with Leicester, daily Leicester streams, or with
Yeah, we'll put it in.
transfer
We'll put it in.
updates.
Don't worry.
Appreciate it, mate. But yeah, sorry,
100%.
I've got to bounce.
Yeah. No worries. Appreciate you again joining. And if you guys if you haven't already, definitely go and subscribe. Appreciate all those that came from your channel to definitely be a part of the conversation and part of the group here. Everyone was super cool. Like it wasn't a red versus blue army out there, which was really good. It was just, just reds and blues hanging out. This is really what we wanted to see. And yeah, definitely.
Cheers.
We'll definitely see you soon, Ant.
Yeah, thank you.
Big up, Ant. Nice one.
Yeah, so I wanted to I wasn't trying to cut you off there. Was there anything else you wanted to say, Irishman? I just wanted to make sure that Ant got it.
No, I didn't even. Sorry, I just didn't see his thing. No, you're cool. You're cool. I'll post his thing before we go there.
Yeah, post this thing for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, I can understand. I brought up that question because I know friend of the channel, also friend in general, Savage and Ends were talking about this particular topic, and it was a unique back and forth between them. In that Savage was saying something he doesn't care about, what he does with Uruguay. He doesn't care about whatever happens, blah 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 about Nunez, and I was. And Enz was on the other side of it. I think I understood what Enz was saying. I think I'm kind of on that same boat in that I think I don't mind anywhere you can find form, find it. I don't care if it was like if it's you playing in with your kids in the park, pick up ball with your kids in the park or wherever you can find the form, as long as you can bring it back to Liverpool, that's all I care about.
Yeah, score goals for us.
That's and he has scored some great goals for us too.
But score goals. No, score goals. Do your thing. Score goals, and everyone will shut up.
Mm-hmm.
If you score goals, everybody will shut up. There will be no debate.
Hey, some people are even saying that about not necessarily about scoring goals, but I was speaking and who is your favorite to win the Euros? By the way, Nilante. Who's your favorite and who's your dark horse?
To be honest, I don't have a favorite. I think it's open. I don't think Germany are clear favorites in the France, but I'll say my dark horse are Spain.
Spain is your dark horse? Okay.
Yeah. I said it from the start, yeah.
Okay. Brian, do you have a favorite and a dark horse for Euros?
Yeah, Spain are weird. Spain are so good that they should be able to win it. but you'd be like, there's no way I'm putting my my mortgage on them. France, it's like, oh, look, it should be France. Look at that team. But they've been awful, really bad. France have been really poor. So it's like, who's going to turn it on? Look at the Portugal side. Players everywhere. Players everywhere in that Portugal team. It's a really wide open one for me, and I think it's a mentality thing. Because you've got 5 teams on paper that could win it, should win it.
That should win.
They're not going to. Yeah, they're not going to. Obviously, like Germany at home, Wirtz, all the boys. They've got all the boys. Rudiger, they got all Neuer, Gundogan. They got all of it. They got everything. They should do it. Probably won't because it's knockout football. So if I had to put money on it. And you were saying winners and dark horses. Dark horse is easy. That's Spain. Winner, France. Yeah. But England ain't doing nothing, by the way. England ain't doing nothing. Ain't doing nothing.
That's true. Exactly. They'll be crying in the beers as usual, Fans go down.
Have you watched them, Nalante? Have you been watching every?
Oh yeah. Oh my
so
God,
bad.
Brian, it's horrific. Man. I'm just laughing. I'm just looking. What? Oh my God, you're getting paid that money. What was that? It's like a negative tactic. I'll tell you, man. I think the 3 of us could do a better job. That seems like.
They're like
honestly.
They're like sleeping pills. It's like you're all up for it. Like you get the beers in, and like 20 minutes later, you're like.
Yeah.
I think I could go for a nap now. Actually, it's like, no, they send you to sleep. They are so bad to watch.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I don't know what they were expecting. I mean, you bring in a former player that played defense that wasn't even that great at defense, but still,
no, he's decent. Yeah. True.
Yeah.
But again, you see what the problem is, both of you, is the fact that because England, final of the Euros, semi of the, quarterfinals of the World Cup and the semis of the World Cup before then, again, the hype builds up, the train gets running, and we've got all these great young players, but we can just exactly, bro. Just look at the squad, how it. But look at the squad; it's so unbalanced. And look, they haven't even got. You bring Luke Shaw, who's a bang average player. I'm sorry,
he broke the whole group stage.
Exactly. But the thing is, right, fit. He's average. He's overrated. I don't even rate him. And Joe, what's the point of bringing Joe Gomez then? Joey G. What's the point? You're just wasting his time. So what? You're going to play Trippier left back? We're going to play Trent left back. And now I'm hearing reports that Trippier's injured. And guess who they're going to play left back? Kwanzaa. You can't make it up. No. You can't make it. You play Bellingham as a number 10. He's no way a number 10. He's an 8. He's a box. He's a box 8. He's not a 10. It's done fun. You put a number 10 on the left. It's funny. It's just entertaining to watch.
Yeah, if they do that, that's gonna be wild. If they do that,
yeah.
I know there were shouts in the chat for Spain. Philip had his dark horse being Austria because I made a
Austria. Interesting.
Strong team.
Yeah.
Strong team, Austria. Yeah.
Right.
But you are on the good side, right? If you look at the side.
Yeah.
No, but if you look at the side, you basically got all like the Slovenias, Austria, Switzerland in one side.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, you got like all the good teams.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
That's why England
bad teams is going to go really well.
England is picked to make it to the final. And the reason why they're picked to make it to the finals because they just happen to be on the weaker side of the bracket.
Really weak side. It's a really weak side. Netherlands,
so I mean,
Romania,
like England can
Slovakia,
scrape by. Yeah,
Turkey,
England can scrape by with their
1-0
wins and such to get to the final. Struggling to score, but Yeah,
That's
it's going to be
tournament
interesting
football,
once they
though.
have to go
It's
up
not
against
about
that
it's not about
final.
goals. It's not about playing beautiful. It's winning it. It's just about winning it. Nobody remembers in 2 years. Oh well, they won it. England haven't won anything since 1966. So I think
I'm
these
sure you
guys.
don't mind reminding the
No,
English.
no, they should. No, I'm sure they'll be happy to win a 1-0 penalty final. That means they have a trophy. I'm sure they will.
For
Hopefully,
sure.
they would. Most people would, but they Slovakia potentially. Or yeah, they've got. They should be semi-final. I think. But Atlante, I think you're right. The first big test that they come up against should be. It could be Holland because they made it the wrong way, or is it Austria? Maybe Austria.
Um,
Yeah,
Something wrong with Harry Kane, by the way. That's all I'll say.
England
He
has
doesn't look
Slovak
fit.
have England has Slovakia
Slovakia
in their
next,
first matchup,
yeah, and
Switzerland,
then
and then they'll have to face either Switzerland or Italy, and
yeah, both
then
beatable.
on the other side
yeah,
of the
Italy.
bracket is Romania, Holland, Turkey, and Austria, and yeah, all the other team, all the good teams that everyone was mentioning, all their dark horses or the good, really good teams. You're right, are on the other side. Spain's
Yep.
got to go against
Spain,
Georgia.
France,
Denver's got to go
Germany,
against Germany.
Yeah,
Portugal versus
Portugal.
Slovakia.
Yeah,
France versus
yeah.
Belgium. Yeah,
Belgium, yeah.
a
Some
lot of,
real good
lot of,
games on that side.
lot of good games on that side of the bracket. That's
Yeah.
why England's picked. I mean, I could see England making it definitely to the semis. To the semis, I could see them making it to the
they
semis.
should. On paper, they should.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and luck out and have a good game against an Austria or Turkey that make it possibly, or or Romania.
Austria, I think Austria would beat England. I think.
From what I've seen, yeah. Radnick
Yeah,
has got the pressing system. You're right, Brian. I think they definitely
I
could.
would. Yeah,
which
Yeah.
is
I
which is
wouldn't
kind
want
of
to play him.
crazy. Again, I know that.
Levante, I wouldn't want to play him, man. I would not want to play him.
Yeah.
That's all
Yeah,
I'll
they're
say.
Yeah.
all a
Yeah,
team in form in
100%.
the tournament. Once a team gets confidence and gets in form and they have a
Yeah.
swagger about them, that's the last team you want to face.
yeah, yeah. Give me
Absolute
True.
last.
give
Even if
me a
you're better on them on
Romania
paper,
or
even if you're
a
better than them on paper, that's the last
yeah.
team you want to face.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
This tournament does not
Give me
matter.
a
It's one and done.
Romania or a France that's having like a crisis or a whatever
Mm,
a flaky Spain or you don't want to play in those super organized, really
yes.
well coached type teams.
Yep.
That's what you don't want. Not in a 16, in a round
Yep.
of
Yeah.
16. You don't want to be playing them because next thing
Yeah.
you know, bing, you're home. You're out. You're gone.
Mm, mm. Yeah. And I think that unique for Ralph and with the Austrian team is he's got players that are buying into the system. He's got players that are going to commit and really, especially now that they're seeing actual results, those players will run through walls for those kinds of coaches.
And England also, they will not. I'm not saying they'll underestimate them, but what will happen is the English press will underestimate the English to a degree, the fans, but they really hate Southgate. So at the same time, they will completely underestimate the opposition while also saying that the coach is an idiot. So he can't win either way. Like it's so, but then when these guys, it's like, oh, like there's like we were talking about, Nolate, you probably watch it. There's no whipping boys in this tournament. There's
No,
no,
no.
yeah. These are good teams. Like these boys are solid. Even the Slovenias, the Slovakias, these aren't mugs, man. People
No.
are kind of looking at the name and go, "Oh, England will beat them" because I've never heard of that country.
Mm-hmm.
you know, there's a little bit of that in it. It's just like, no, have you looked at the teams? Like that guy plays for Inter. He plays for Atletico. He plays for
Exactly, PSG, whatever, yeah, it's true. Napoli, yeah, sure.
Mhm.
But I think what it is, bro, I think unfortunately we just got some football that watch it. They're not deep into football like us, so they wouldn't know about, for instance, Georgia. I'll probably pronounce his name, but Kelefashi, who plays in the wing for Napoli. We wouldn't, but they're just the casual ones, like, oh, we know France and Holland, so Australia wouldn't know the depths of we do. So that's all it is, really. To be fair, that's all it is.
England, man. They've got the people on the paper, but you have to do it out there. You have to do it out there on the pitch. Now is the time.
It is, but that's what's going to happen. It's going to be the usual, all over there, especially the national papers. Oh, God save and all that rubbish. Oh my God, yeah. Oh God, you're going to hear it. Kane, oh, this person, oh, there's a big them, and yeah. And then when the party just gets, the balloon gets flat once again. Oh my God, you should have picked this one and that one. It's going to be, I just find it funny, honestly. Let's talk about Copa America.
Do you have a well, I personally think that Copa America, I'm not saying that just because obviously I have a vested interest in Copa.
Yes, thanks.
I think Copa has been more of an exciting tournament so far than Euros, to tell you the truth. I think a lot of the games have been pretty. I mean, there's always one or two for each, but I think there's just more so than not. There's been a lot more entertaining games with Copa so far than there have been for the Euros. There have been some entertaining games for Euros, but I'm just saying I think that there's been a little bit more so far on Copa.
I haven't seen either. I haven't seen that, so I couldn't really. I don't know.
It's been.
I haven't seen any games, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I've just seen the highlights.
Yeah. If you got, fortunate for us here in America, we'll see. Possibly, I don't always get to see the start the game, the first game, or the first set of games. But because it's usually when it's like 6 a.m. I think or something like that. But I will be able to catch the next game. So I have been watching quite a few Euro games, and then obviously the Copa games. They end up in the afternoon.
Your time, yeah.
Do you
let me ask you something.
Do you have a favorite then for Copa by any chance? In the chat, tell me who your favorite and who your dark horse is for Copa. Do you have a favorite and a dark horse for Copa?
I think it's going to be either the RGs or Uruguay. I don't think Brazil will win it.
Okay. How about for you, Brian?
No, I don't really know. I don't because like I say, it's like you're watching that thing, we're watching this. It's just like ask a Turkey fan, what's the best tournament this summer? They're not going to say Copa. You ask the Mexican fan, what's the best tournament this summer? They're not going to say Euros. So whatever you're watching is what you're watching. I haven't, unfortunately, been able to watch Copa. I'd love to have been able to watch it, but there literally are only so many. Like even me, I can only watch about 4 hours football in a day. I mean. So that would involve staying up all night, and hopefully I'll try and watch again, like a kind of a simp. I'll watch maybe from like the semi-finals on and get involved, but I don't know the lore, as it were, of this year's Copa. I only know, like, I've been watching the Euro, so that's where our fun is, but I'm sure it's just look, it's a great tournament over there. But if Brazil play Argentina or Uruguay play Colombia in a proper actual game, I definitely want to watch that. I want to watch that, like. So I'll seek it out on the thing. But for me, obviously, the Euros is pumped into our faces for free.
Yeah,
you can't deny it. You can't get away from it.
That's some good football, guys. You're missing some really good football.
Well, look, I'm also would be missing some sleep, so it'd be like, unfortunately, Yeah, no, I think
They
that's
do.
what I'm saying. Like
It's for
from the
the
quarters and
Fox.
the semis on, yeah,
Dude, I
they
was
should
gonna
be
ask, do
more
they do what
watchable.
in here, or at least with the station that's covering it here? They have the same station is covering Copa and the Euros. So what they'll do is
Yeah.
they'll play the Euros in the morning, and then they'll play Copa in the afternoon, and then after Copa's done, they'll replay Euros right after.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it's like it's
Nice.
almost like, if you missed out on a game, at some point you probably will be able to catch it. That's why it's kind of cool.
Can anyone in the chat say, is the BBC, are they showing Copa? They used to. They used to do it on BBC Four, but yeah, it's
Yeah,
not
the only
on
the
the.
only channel I saw on there was that Premiere channel that I mentioned earlier. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
a right. Is that a station on the
It is.
dial?
No, it's a. You have to pay kind of for that.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kinda. Yeah.
Okay, I got you. It's like what's the, I think Fubo or something like that it's called, or something like that. It's kind of like that. It's like that. I don't know. There's a station over here. It's like it deals with football, or it's like BN Sports, probably. Like, is that, for
Maybe
instance,
it's
right?
still no. It's a proper. It's like a channel. It's like an old school channel. Like
Mhm.
it's not an internet channel. Yeah. It changes every year. That Premier League thing that used to be, because in Ireland you can show one 3 p.m. kickoff a week, whereas in England you can show none. So there's a gap in that. Yeah, I don't know. It changes
Mhm.
every year. It
Okay.
changes every year. But Premier
Okay.
League sports used to be, I think it used to be Satanta, which used to be the Irish loophole channel, basically, where you could watch. Uh, we could show Premier League football that didn't uh, break the blackout, the 3 p.m. blackout, which
Mhm.
they didn't like. So it's some mix of that. But
Okay. Is there
yeah,
before we?
yeah, Bernie is saying it's like a UK version of that thing. But
Yeah, Premier
yeah,
One for the Copa. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. If you guys get a chance, there's some good games. I mean, today again, there's some good games on the bill. Um, I definitely know that Colombia versus Costa Rica is going to be a good game. But I think Brazil versus Paraguay is going to be even even better game, because I think Paraguay isn't exactly a super strong team, but the fact that Costa Rica got a draw with Brazil early in the matchups, it makes this game even way heavier for Brazil to actually get a result, because if they get another draw,
Crucial.
yeah, it's
Oof.
crucial. They get another draw, then Colombia with a win could end up winning the group.
Top it.
That's something that no one had really, not many people had, at least. I put my dark horse. Look, my hope and heart is with U.S. men's national team.
Pulisic, right now. Come on.
Why are you laughing? Huh? Why are you laughing?
Hold on. Before you go to Brian, did you see that thing with who was it? It was I think it was American sports network. I forgot with its CBS or whatever. And one of them was saying, comparing that, I think Pulisic to I forgot, Mbappe or Messi. I forgot who that person was, but yeah, it was funny. It was funny.
No. I mean, other than being on the advertising board that they use for the station that is covering Fox and Copa, because his face is on that board. I think they have Messi. They have, who else do they have? They have Messi. They have Pulisic. They have Mbappe, and I don't think who else they had on there. They had like 5 bases on there, and they're just trying to cover all their bases, but that's even I'm not. I love myself some U.S. men's national team. I'm not going that far. Even I'm not going that far. But I'll stick up for Kelleher against the rest of the league. But I'm not going to go against. I'm not going to say Mbappe and freaking Pulisic in the same breath. Is there before we bounce out? Is there any subject or topic you wanted to breach or talk about real quick before we bounce out, Nolante? Is there anything on your you want to get off your chest about maybe something that's being circulated or something that is some hot topic, some tea that you want to spill?
Speculation, yeah, the speculation all the time, yeah. I just wanted to reiterate just two things. I think one of them, I think, is I'm sure you guys have talked about it because it's been a while, about the over criticism of Trent in midfield. I'm sure you guys talked about it way before. But I just think it's just, again, over exaggerating the thing. And all these people like expecting, Trent, he can't play midfield. He was a midfielder by trade. Of course he can. I mean, the boy's he's not stupid. It's just that he has to get used to the dynamics of the role. You know what I mean? Every midfielder is different. And next season, I don't care about what's happening in the Euros because England don't play to his strengths anyway. Next season, he needs to be in midfield. And the second thing I just wanted to say is, regarding of who you're going to sign first and who you're going to sign, the centre back I do agree with, but again, we're not going to sign the midfielder DM because we've already got too many midfielders. Because if we're going to buy a DM, we have to sell. So for anyone who thinks a DM is coming into the team, just get it out of your head. It's not happening. It's not happening unless we sell one or two.
What?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I was going to say, oh, really? But I was, until you said, yeah, we have. If you, me and Travan talked about this.
Okay.
I think we are definitely going to sign a DM.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah, but I completely agree with what you're saying in terms of. I think we're going to bring somebody in. Maybe not this window, January next window, but you also have to be realistic and go right. Endo, McAllister, Szoboszlai, Jones, Gravenberch, Elliott, Basetic. They can't all play. So you would say to me, "Oh well, Brian, you're going to bring someone in. Oh, what about these guys?" I'm going, "Yeah, one of them's gone. One of them will go."
Yeah.
So we're going to bring in a guy, and that will involve a Jones or a Gravenberch or because we're not selling Mac.
He's a star. Oh no, no.
Yeah, we're not selling Szoboszlai. Do we sell Gravenberch?
No,
do we
not
sell
for me.
Jones? Do we sell Elliott? That's your manager call. That's your call. Calls have to be made. Everything again, calls have to be made. So if you want to bring in a guy who I think we all agree, a Saicedo type, Endo who is 24, right? You can't do that without moving. Someone's got to move.
Yep.
It's a game. It's a game. Someone's going to move. Curtis, I think if you say to me, put your money on a man, put your money on a guy, to me it's Curtis. After that, maybe Graf.
Okay.
I don't know. I really don't know. But if you're going to do something, we're going to have to do something, if you get what I'm saying. You want to bring one in, one's got to go. So something's going to have to. To me, it looks like the three in my mind. You've got a boy that never bought Gravenberch. That's Ernest Lot. Gravenberch was a clock project. So, okay, cool. Put him up, right? Curtis Jones. Cost us nothing. Could make us a big profit. Yeah. Elliott, same thing. Cost us nothing. Big profit. If you sell him to So, it's going to be one of those type Gravenberch, Elliott, Jones, and maybe who else do we have? Not one of our new signings. So it's going to be something like that. If someone comes in, here's 60 for this guy. Oh yeah, right. We can replace him with this uncut gem and this guy that we own. Yeah, easy. But I'm prepared for us to do that deal and for someone very like a real contentious type, why are we selling that guy type transfer to happen, I think, this summer. And that would be blamed on Arne Slot, I can imagine, but it won't be on him. It'll be Curtis Jones is 350% pure profit type signing. I think we're going to do that kind of thing. So I don't know.
Well, I agree with what Bernie's saying here. I'll give my point after I say Bernie's point. Bernie says Gravenberch worries her. He can't be outstanding in training, or he'd get regular football. And Tuchel left him on the bench for a reason. I can understand being worried, but Ryan also is only 21 years old, I believe, right?
Yeah.
I like the fact that he's a young promise. He's young enough to still to be able to say, well, he has potential or he has promise.
100%.
It's tough to say that when you're 26, 27, you're like, oh, you're still holding on to the promise and that talent level has yet to be shown. But I think Gravenberch, that one thing I like about Gravenberch, this is something at least that I noticed with this gameplay, is that I like the fact that he's quick, he has long strides, he's able to progress from box to box very quickly with that pace, but he's also able to carry the ball as opposed to relying on his passing. So with every pass, you got to be dead point accurate. If you be like Trent Alexander-Arnold, that's one thing, but not every player has that ability. But if you have that ability to, utilize your pace and be able to, pick up the ball from our box and bring it to theirs, that's something of a real asset to have. It's something that I think we missed from not having a player like a Matip, for instance. Matip did that quite a few times for us, and it was a really big, I believe, asset to our club and to the way that we ended up like trying to progress our offense. Konate, even Kwanzaa has tried to incorporate that part into their game, and then when we've gotten some results from it actually. I remember Kwanzaa got an assist. Matip's gotten close to getting an assist here and there too. So, but it is what it is. But I feel you, Bernie. I feel what you're saying. I wouldn't say this often that I hope that you're wrong, but I do hope that you're wrong in this particular case. So, Irishman, do you have anything that you wanted to bring up too before we bounce out?
No, I just want to say to everybody, have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy your break. Look, it's a little break from real football. It's all going to come back soon, where it's all going to be mad and crazy and annoying, transfers and this. So we have this little bit of a time, just enjoy some international games. Watch it. Forget about who plays for who and
you gotta watch. You gotta watch saying that.
Yeah,
you said a break from real football.
No, just go and watch it, man. Just go and watch it. What's happening? The Euros. Don't forget. Don't worry about who's going to join who. Just go and watch football for a while. Forget about that.
You got a lot of football.
Real
Euros,
just international games.
All right, so I guess it all depends on who's in the championship, who's in that championship. But the Euros and the Euros and Copa, the final is on the same day, actually.
Yeah,
that's gonna be interesting.
Good fun. Go and watch it. Forget about the nonsense.
It's gonna be a double dip of finals action. So it should be good. Should be definitely good. Nolante, do you want to say anything before we let the people go?
No, not much fun. Just big up the chat, and yeah, we move
Yeah,
on to the next episode.
yeah, we move. I know we got into some transfer talk for some clubs that we probably wouldn't have necessarily spoke on, but we did get to mention a couple of different clubs, and here and there we got to speak on some of our own players and possible destinations or the possible remaining situations for them. And yeah, tomorrow is some good games. So if you will be so good to join us tomorrow, that'd be very, very appreciative. If you would it'd be even better if you drop a like and give a share to the channel. Bring some more people in, much like what Brian did today. If they're Reds, yes. If they're not Reds, still cool. Yeah, still cool. Still cool.
Yeah.
Still cool.
No, it's nothing but love. Nothing but love for everybody.
But again, thank you for joining us today. We will see you guys mañana, hopefully. It all depends on tonight and tomorrow. I do have like some big shows actually, but I will do my best to try to put together a show for tomorrow. Sometimes I know it's difficult sometimes because sometimes the festivities after the show end up going late breaking dawn type thing, and it's tough to stay to keep it going for you guys. But I will do my best to make sure that I can be there for you, and I hopefully if I am, hopefully you're there for me, and I appreciate it each and every time. So
the commitment is 100 always.
It is. It's one of the few things I actually look forward to doing every day. It's one of the few things I do look forward to. So big up to each and every one of you guys. Thank you to the panel. Thank you, Nalante, for hopping on. As always, one of our generals in the Army here. Appreciate you. Shout out to Ant, obviously, earlier, joining us earlier from
Brilliant.
Brilliant. And Irishman, thank you as well for being here and holding down with me. And again, I would only say I put now UTRA as a hashtag that I'm trying to get movement on, and that simple hashtag is up the Reds always. Up the Reds.
I don't know, Mark. I don't know who the music is. It's the thing. With the Mark wants to know when you click off who the music is.
You know what? I'd have to double check. I'll be sure to tune in tomorrow. I'll have that answer for you tomorrow. Yeah. How about that? I definitely have that answer for you tomorrow. Yeah. But I will definitely. I'm going to play it for you right now, though. So big up to everyone, and we will see you tomorrow. And
tomorrow, Mark.
And like I said, up the Reds always, brothers and sisters. Up the Reds always. So peace.
Yeah.